Dr. Kenisha L. Williams is a native of New Orleans, Louisiana, the eldest of 4 children, and a graduate of Louisiana State University, class of 1999. Dr. Kenisha's academic achievements reflect her dedication to learning. She earned her first master's in education in 2002, a second bachelor's in ministry in 2007 as valedictorian, a doctorate in organizational leadership in 2014, an accelerated master's degree, and a second doctorate in ministry in 2020, maintaining a 4.0 GPA. Dr. Kenisha has been a devoted member of Destiny Christian Center in Victorville, California, under Bishop Jesse and Dr. Helene Giddens for over 24 years. She is honored to serve as an elder and the DEMA Director of Education and Transformational Leadership, having been licensed and ordained as a minister. She deeply values her pastors, who she considers God's gifts, guiding her in leadership and faith. Dr. Kenisha's career in public education spans over 20 years, starting as a teacher and advancing to elementary administrator. She later served as an elementary school principal and principal on assignment for self-leadership, diversity, equity, and inclusion, SDEI. In July 2022, Dr. Kenisha transitioned full-time into her business, Transformation, Training and Development, LLC, where she travels globally, helping leaders and organizations grow. A professional speaker, trainer, and mindset coach, she has authored 8 books, with more set to release this year. Dr. Kenisha is mentored by Dr. John C. Maxwell and serves on his teaching team, having shared the stage with him before thousands. She has received Spirit Awards from school districts for her inspirational leadership, and in March 2023 was honored with the Dr. John C. Maxwell DNA Culture Award for her positive attitude. Her passion in life is to bring people inspiration, which opens them up for an impartation that yields illumination, causing one to receive revelation, so they can go through the process of reevaluation, which lands them to transformation. Forgetting all that, the one thing to remember about Dr. Kenisha is that God is her source for everything, and Jesus Christ is her Lord. At this time, please stand to your feet and give a warm welcome to Dr. Kenisha Williams.
Hello out there. Welcome. Hello. Listen, we are here for our transformation experience, our virtual conference 2025. This is round 3, baby. That's right. Listen, I promised at the beginning of the year, I said, I'm going to bring up once a quarter some quality content to the world to help us go and grow to the next level. We kicked it off in January with Transform and Revolutionize 2025. Then we were in March where we did our Transform Her, which was an all-female panel to celebrate the month of women. And now today we have the opportunity to be back with you. And today, listen, our theme is Leader Shift is Key. I want you to put that in the chat box. Yes, we're live, and I know I cannot see you. You can see me, but drop in that chat box, Leader Shift is Key, because that's what we're going to be leaning in to for the rest of this morning. So let's go ahead and bring up our flyer for today. We have some amazing people that will be with us today. So we're going to bring up our flyer so that you can see who's on with us today. So we have some speakers. Listen, we're going to kick it off with Pastor Danielle Wells. Listen, she is going to light it up. She's going to drop the fire. She is my big sister. She is one of my leaders in ministry. ministry. And boy, she is an absolute powerhouse all the way from Virginia. Then we're going to have another speaker, the amazing Cedric LaFleur. Listen, I met him on the John Maxwell team, and boy, this man is doing a lot of work to add value to this world. Then we have our first panel of amazing people that are from my local area as well as abroad. We have the college president from Barstow Community College, Dr. 𝐓𝐫𝐵𝐻. She may be short in stature, but she is a powerhouse. Do you hear me? Then we have Dr. Dan Walden, the president and superintendent of Victor Valley College, right here in my local area, the High Desert. Then we have from one of our local cities, our councilwoman, Amanda Upthegrove. Councilwoman, she is a firecracker. I met her earlier this year, and she is phenomenal. And then we have one of my friends from, I'm telling you, he's from Texas, from the John Maxwell team, Maxwell Leadership. And when I met this guy, and he flew me out to talk to his group, I'm telling you, he's going to drop some love on us. Then we've got two more speakers. Kelly Merbler, she is a sister and a friend at heart from the John Maxwell team, but is leading a wonderful company. Then we have none other than the John Griffin. I mean, he's going to drop the book of what knowledge and wisdom to help us to go and grow. And I have some of my amazing sisters from a talk show that we did all the way back during COVID. And so hopefully you've been watching on these Saturdays. I have the amazing Alicia Mitchell, as well as the amazing Marisol Escalante, a couple of the people, the ladies who allowed for us to light up during COVID with some fun, but also with a phenomenal message. So again, I am honored to know these men and women that's going to add value today. Let me just give a shout out to my amazing production team from Abraham's Inc. I mean, they are just an amazing team. This company produces all of my books, my edits, book covers, just amazing behind the scenes. So if you're looking for someone, Abraham's Inc., reach out to me and I will give you their contact information. So I think we are ready to go. But before we do that, I want to know where you are coming in from. Now, I'm looking in what I thought was a comment box, and let's see where you are coming in from. Oh, I see Dan on the panel from Midland, Texas. Excellent. My friend Kelly Merber, she's so encouraging. She was like, proud of you, Kenisha. Thank you, because I need a lot of help. Let's see who else we have out there. I see Rachel. Come on, Rachel. She's a powerhouse in and of herself. She says leadership is key. I see Joe Vigil all the way from he says aloha from Missouri. Aloha, my friend. Well, thank you. We have people again from around the world. I see Williamsburg, Virginia. I see ATL in the house. I know the big high desert. Listen, the high desert is going somewhere, folks. The high desert is going somewhere, I'm telling you. And again, we see another person, Miss Charlotte from Midland, Texas. Come on, Miss Charlotte, we're happy that you are here. Who else did we have in the house? Miss Alicia, excellent, right here. She's going to be on the panel for us. We're excited right here. Now, she's not from here, and here is Victorville. She's from Ohio, Toledo, but she lives right here in Victorville, California. So I think we are ready, ladies and gents. Again, take out your pen, your paper, your iPad, whatever it is you need to take notes on, because we are having a good time, but we did not come to play. My friends, this team of speakers and panel, they want to add value to you, and I am honored that they said yes. So again, we're going to now go into the first speaker, who is a powerhouse, a firecracker, a woman of faith, but a woman of substance. And so let's go ahead. We're going to play the bio of our very Pastor Danielle Wells is the executive pastor and and administrator of Kingdom Life Christian Church of Williamsburg, Virginia. She is a skilled intercessor, teacher, and preacher that is equipped with prophetic insight. She is also an incisive mentor and life coach. Her passion is to touch the lives of men and women by empowering them to fulfill their kingdom assignment. Pastor Danielle serves as a presbyter for Destiny International Ministerial Alliance, or DEMA, under the leadership of Bishop Jesse Giddens and Dr. Helene Giddens. She holds a Master's of Arts in Human Service Counseling with a specialization in executive leadership and a bachelor's degree in psychology from Liberty University. Pastor Danielle also has a bachelor's degree in biblical studies from Minnesota Graduate School of Theology and is a graduate of the Sonship School of the Firstborn. Pastor Danielle is the author of one book, Kingdom Life, A Life of Prayer and Intimacy. She is married to Henry T. Walsh Jr., and they have two sons, Henry and Josiah, along with their 3 grandchildren. Let's welcome to the stage, Pastor Danielle Wells.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, Lady Danielle. I'm going to move myself up.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I am Danielle Wells, and I am so excited to be here with Transform Nation with Dr. Kenisha Williams, who I affectionately call Dr. K. I am so excited to be with you all today. I want to share something real quick about leadership. Leadership. And immediately when I thought about leadership, I thought about leaders shift. And so when we think about shift, or when I think about the word shift, it means to change gears. It means to move from one place to another. So as leaders, we must be able to embrace change on this journey of transformation. And oftentimes that means adjusting. Oftentimes that means shifting or changing a direction. So the key to transformation, whether it's personal or organizational, it lies in embracing change, focusing on the present moment, and taking consistent action toward your desired outcome. What does that mean in layman's terms? It means to roll with the punches. It means to make adjustments when necessary. It means to pivot when necessary. And it also means to embrace whatever change is happening in your life, because change is inevitable. Change is going to happen. But when changes come in our life, even as we lead as leaders, what are we doing to roll with that change? Or how are we growing in the midst of that change? Because oftentimes as leaders, we're so busy leading others, encouraging others, being there for others, and we forget about ourselves. But we must remember that even as a leader, there are some shifts that have to take place in our life. We have to make a point to make personal growth a priority. We must stretch ourselves as leaders. We must challenge ourselves to grow and be intentional about growing. So even when I was thinking more about that and just thinking about the different challenges that we may have as leaders and the different obstacles that we may face, and I say we roll with the punches, we must understand that our mind is a valuable asset. Our mind is a variable asset. It's the greatest asset that we can ever have. So our mind, because it's so valuable, because it's such an asset, we must nurture it. We must develop it, and we must not leave it dormant or underutilized. So we must use our mind, and even the Bible, because I am a preacher, the Bible challenges us to renew our mind on a daily basis. And that's how transformation is going to take place in our life. So even in being renewed in our mind, that is doing something. that is shifting, that is adjusting, because sometimes we think thoughts that are not positive. We think thoughts sometimes that are contrary to what we believe our purpose is, what God wants for our lives. And so we have to make a decision to govern those thoughts, challenge those thoughts, and bring them under the authority of what we believe that God has purposed our life for. So even when I was thinking more about the shifting part, it's the doing, because a lot of times we can have an imagination, we can have confessions, we can have different things that we desire to do, but until we actually do them, we would just remain in a state of maybe even just desiring to do it. So we have to do something. Every time I think about do something, I think about that movie John Q, when his back was against the wall and his son was having a health challenge, and his wife challenged him, do something. We are in dire straits. We are in need of something. So I need you to do something. So I'm challenging you as a leader to do something. Even as we shift as leaders, we are doing something. So your thoughts, I talked about the mind and I talk about your thoughts. Your thoughts have the tremendous ability to shape your life positive or in negative ways. So that's why I said earlier that we must challenge those negative thoughts and bring them into alignment with our dreams, our goals, and our purpose. So we have to change our thoughts and our behaviors and our belief for personal transformation. That must take place. What are our beliefs, our convictions? Our beliefs help to shape our understanding and how we live out our lives in the world. So what do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about the full potential of your purpose that you have been placed on this earth to do? You can do it. Let's shift as leaders into the purpose that we have been set on this earth to accomplish. What we must do with our mind, we must change our perspective. Sometimes in the shifting, we have to change our vantage point. We have to change how we look at a thing. There must be a change. Sometimes along this journey, we have to change our perspective. And when we make the change in our perspective, sometimes we have to make adjustments. So even when we talk about our mind and how those thoughts have to be in alignment with our purpose, that means we have to have mind management skills. We have to manage our mind, because the mind is the battleground. The mind is where, things can be lived out of our life, because it starts with the thought. And then we meditate sometimes on that thought. Then we contemplate on that thought. And then we begin to have feelings about that thought. And then certain behaviors line up with some of the things that we are thinking. So we have to make sure that we manage our mind. Manage your mind, because it is the key to peace and happiness. That is the key. So our mind has to be managed in the midst of shifting as we go throughout our life and as we continue to lead as individuals. So we have to take steps to manage our thoughts. So I mentioned earlier about adjusting. So adjusting typically implies a relatively minor, often temporary change to make something more suitable and comfortable. As I was sitting here waiting to get on the Zoom, I was looking at the picture, you're looking at yourself, and I began to adjust my top. And as I adjusted my top, it made my blouse fit a little better. So oftentimes as a leader, and we're shifting and we're changing gears and there's movement and we're moving, we have to make temporary adjustments. So we have to adjust. So even in our focus, when we are adjusting, we're making minor changes to improve our fit, our function, and our comfort. We're making whatever adjustments are needful and necessary in the moment that will bring us the desired outcome that we desire for our life. There is adapting. When you're talking about shifting, there is adapting, because people use adjusting and adapting interchangeably, but adapting, on the other hand, suggests that a more fundamental and potentially long-term transformation to fit a new or changed circumstance. So adapting is more permanent. Adapting is you're causing your focus now to undergo a more significant transformation so that it aligns with the new conditions or the environments that's taking place in our lives. So when we shift as leaders, when we're in leadership and we're shifting, we're adapting, we're adjusting, we're having mind management taking place so that we can be the very best versions that we can be in our lives. So even as we adjust and even as we adapt and we're focusing, we're keeping it moving. We oftentimes say, keep it moving. That means keep moving forward. Don't allow yourself to be stagnant. Don't allow the road bumps in life to hinder you. Oftentimes there's a speed bump in life so that it on a road naturally, so that it controls your speed, so that if you're flying through where there's a speed bump, then you have the potential to damage your car. But oftentimes speed bumps allow you to continue to have movement, but not at an accelerated pace because of what may be ahead. So sometimes our speed bumps are there to help us refocus so that when the next shift in our life needs to take place, we are at the right speed or have the right momentum to be able to move forward and advance. So even when we talk about momentum, we don't want to lose our momentum. We want to continue to move. You know, even naturally driving a car and you shift gears, sometimes you downshift when you're slowing down, and then you go up and you're shifting when you're speeding up. So there's always a shift that's taking place. So we must remember to keep it moving. Momentum is important. Don't lose your momentum as a leader. When we face challenges, when we face discouragement, when we face obstacles in the road, don't stop moving. Ride the wave of momentum and keep moving. Shift, make whatever adjustment, adapt to whatever it is that you need to adapt to in that moment, but keep it moving. Momentum is the quantity of motion. It's the quantity of motion. So momentum comes from the Latin verb movere. It comes from that word meaning to move. And it is described as the quality or force that keeps something moving, developing, or making progress after it has started. Another way of looking at momentum is that it is an energy that keeps something moving. It keeps it moving no matter what. So that's why we say, just keep it moving, just keep it moving. Sometimes you're talking crazy, but let's keep it moving. No matter what we're facing, let's just keep it moving as leaders, because we have the ability to shift. We have the ability to take control of our mind and our thoughts patterns. We have the ability to make the adjustments. We have the ability to adapt to whatever environment we are in, and to also keep it moving forward with momentum. I close with this. John C. Maxwell said, and I quote, "While a good leader sustains momentum, a great leader increases it." So as a leader, and as we continue to grow and develop as a leader and even add value to ourselves, let's continue to shift and keep it moving.
Ooh, oh, my. Listen, folks, I just went to church. On Saturday morning. Now, when I was a little girl, we actually did go to church on Saturdays. Pastor Danielle, listen, we're not playing, folks. I have my notes. I don't know what you think is going on, but as they're talking, I'm taking notes. Why? Because all of us should be here to grow. You said so many Gosh, you said so many powerful things. You talked about change. Then you talked about make adjustments. You talked about mind management. Those who know me know that that's my subject, right? We're going to put a plug in here. Winning Within. It's talking about changing your mind. I released this book last year. So I just kind of want to plug in on this mind management for just a second, because oftentimes we're going to win or lose. My pastor says with what's between our two ears, right? There's no the man that's going to stop me, right? Like nobody outside of us stops us from shifting and moving, right? That's the key. So give me a tip specifically, like what can I do when I'm struggling in my mind about the shift that I need to make myself as a leader, or as I'm trying to lead myself, as I'm trying to lead other people, whether that's my family, whether that's an organization, like help me with, like, what's a tip that something I can do with my mind?
Well, personally, I've had challenges with, thoughts. Sometimes you just think negatively, or your mind automatically goes to the negative. It can start out positive, but some type of way, in some of our attitudes, we find something negative in it. So what I personally do immediately is arrest the thought. Because a lot of times it'll come. Hey, I'm a preacher. It'll come as a thought. It's just testing the waters in a sense, but we have to capture that thought. And then sometimes we meditate on that thought. We ponder on it. We just go through it. But oftentimes we have to arrest it and pull it down and replace it with something that's greater, something that's more in align with what we believe our purpose is. So it's the reverse. It's the converse. Okay, I immediately thought that I can't do that. So I immediately say, no, I'm not going to say that. Okay, what do I need to do? How do I need to grow and develop so that I'm capable or able to do X, Y, Z, and start beginning to thinking in that direction?
Yes, ma'am.
Because a lot of times we take that thought and we put the plot, the introduction, we put the plot with it, the closing scene all within our mind. We can make a heaven in our mind and a hell in our mind, all in a matter of minutes. So it's choosing what you want to think on. Choosing
That's
it.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I'll tell you why we don't choose, because we don't even know it's happening. Now, we know it's happening literally, but experientially, while it's happening, we forget that we can actually choose our thoughts. We can choose. So people are like, well, capture your thoughts. What do you mean capture your thoughts? I'm going to capture my thought. Well, the first process of capturing your thought is to be cognizant that you are thinking, to be cognizant that we have a choice, people, leaders, we have a choice. All the thoughts that come through our mind, we don't have to accept them.
Right.
That's what I'm about. Transformation. It's the renewing of our thinking, our mind, especially as leaders in a world that is going through cycles of change after change. We can hardly keep up. And if we're going to make it to even lead other people, we have got to know that we can, in fact, control not the thoughts that come to us, because they're just going to come, but we certainly can control, Pastor D, the thoughts that we meditate on, the thoughts that we chew on, and the thoughts that we develop. So you have been absolutely amazing. This momentum, go after it. Look, I wrote down, you said, keep it moving. That's what my thing, keep it pushing. Keep it pushing. So I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry, but keep it moving. Like we have work to do. We can't cry at the bathroom all day. Like, okay, we're going to cry, then we're going to wipe our tears, and we have things to do. Why? Because there's a shifting happening at all times. And as leaders, we cannot stop. We have got to capitalize on this momentum. Pastor D, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Listen, ladies and gents, I want to say one other thing about what Pastor D said. This is from my book, Winning Within. You can purchase it on my website. This is from page 29, because this is actually real. I'm going to read you an excerpt when she talked about capturing thoughts and all of that. Here's what it says. It says, recognizing how we think increases our awareness of what is happening in our inner world. So we have to know how we are thinking. Then it says, according to various studies, so now we're into research, humans have about 60 to 70,000 thoughts, 70,000. That's a whole lot of thinking. And we have those daily. And here's what it says, with some studies saying as low as 6,000. That's a lot of thoughts. But here's what the article Stuck on Negative Thinking states. According to the National Science Foundation, this is powerful. 80%, folks, not 2, not 3, not 50. 80%, over 3/4 of our thinking, of our thoughts are negative. 80%. So when Pastor D says we have to capture our thoughts, if we're going to shift ourselves first, leaders, so we can go out and help to shift organizations and our community and our influence, we have to shift our own thoughts. And we have to know that 80% of them, and if you know me, I'm a person that's very positive. So you know I'm not just stating this to be negative. This is a scientific fact that 80% of the thoughts that's coming to our mind, I cannot tell you why, I can just tell you it is. 80% of those are negative. And then 95% of those thoughts are repetitive. That means we're thinking the same things over and over and over. So if we're struggling, leaders, with leading our own selves, this is probably why. If we're struggling with leading change initiatives, this is probably why. No condemnation, but now knowing this means that we need to increase our awareness. And you're like, boy, why is she talking so loud? And why is she screaming at us? Folks, I'm not screaming at you. I'm screaming into the atmosphere. Why? Because I love you. I want all of us to be able to go after whatever shift, whatever change that needs to happen in us personally first, so we can then go out and do that for the world. And I'm telling you, where the change and the shifting should happen first is in our own thinking, in our own mind. If you don't remember anything else today, write down this fact that 80% of the thoughts that come across all of our mind, I'm talking about pastors too. This is not just a pastor, non-pastor. All of us, 80% are negative, and then 95% of those thoughts recycle and they are negative. Now, does that mean doom and gloom? No. What it simply means is I'm going to be aware of that, and then I'm going to have systems in place, check this out, to shift what's happening in my own mind. Folks, I could stay here all day long, but I won't, because I have a wonderful group of people that are waiting to come on deck. Listen, we're going to play a short commercial from my friend and mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell. And after that, I'll be next up with our first panel.
Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend, Dr. Kenisha Williams.
Where does a coach belong? Should they be ahead of you, clearing the path for you, or behind you, cheering you on? Actually, it's neither. The coach's place is by your side, helping you find your footing each step of the way. Hi, I'm Dr. Kenisha L. Williams, a Maxwell Leadership Certified coach, speaker, trainer, and teacher. I am passionate about personal development in all its forms, but my specialty is coaching. I get up each morning excited because I get to watch my clients achieve their goals. There's nothing quite as satisfying as walking alongside someone as they become the person they want to be. And if you have a goal you're striving toward, or even if you're just looking for some direction on your way, I want to partner with you in that process. John Maxwell has been one of the world's foremost leadership and personal growth experts for more than 40 years. As a Maxwell certified coach, I am uniquely and powerfully resourced to help you accomplish anything. What does your dream need from you? What do you need to do? Who do you need to meet? Where do you need to spend your time and resources? As your coach, I'll be here to guide you toward those answers to the questions. I want to help you make the uncertain certain. Together, supported by proven effective self-development principles, we will put a plan in place that grows you steadily toward your goal. The greatest investment you can make is in yourself. Let's make it together. Contact me today to start making your dreams a reality.
All right, family, I'm so excited. I hope that you are enjoying our show so far. And actually, our theme for today is based upon my friend and mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell's book. He came out with, gosh, this was back, I want to say 2021 during COVID, Leader Shift. And I have read this book front to back to front, taught classes on this, and it really, really makes a difference. So if you're looking for some good content, then go ahead and pick up Leadership by Dr. John C. Maxwell. So we are now going to bring up our first panel. First of all, let's bring up Councilwoman Amanda Updegrove. She is a councilwoman from a local city of Adelanto. And oh boy, listen, she's going to tell us a little bit in just a second. But I had a chance to meet her this year at a common meeting. We exchanged numbers, and then I felt like this. I was on my treadmill one day, right, Amanda? And I texted him like, I think I'm supposed to like meet with you one-on-one. You know how you meet people and you just say, oh, we'll check in, and you mean like maybe never, or maybe like in a year, or maybe when like we're forced to. And so it was originally like that. And then I was on my treadmill randomly. Her name pops before me, and I knew there was an action like you need to meet with her like this week. And that never really happens to me. So I'm thinking, okay, so I text her. She was like, hey, by the way, Tuesday. And it's Saturday. I'm like, okay, you have time on Tuesday. Went over to her house, and literally she shared her vision with me, and she'll share a little bit. I mean, I wept and wept and wept and wept like a baby, hearing the non-conventional, unconventional ways, right, that you are adding value and shifting as a leader, your community and the lives of many people. So we're welcoming up Miss Amanda Updegrove, Councilwoman Amanda. Next to the stage, we're welcoming up Dr. Dan Walden, Dr. Daniel Walden. We call him Dr. Dan. He is the college president and superintendent of Victor Valley College, who they're doing great things. Listen, Dr. Walden is like he's like a coach. Right? He loves John Maxwell. I was introduced to him by another friend. And Dr. Walden, you opened your arms, took me in, met with me. I got a chance to hear your vision, your love for your college and the community. You are a sound leader, right? An ethical leader. And then you allowed me to do some work for you all. So that was absolutely wonderful. All right, let's bring up my next friend to the stage. This is another Dan. This is Dan Nicholas. He is my friend all the way from Midland, Texas, and he is on the John Maxwell team, or the Maxwell leadership team. So Dan came to me one time, and maybe one of his people on his team, we were at a Maxwell conference, and they were like, oh, Dan. I'm like, okay, Dan. I don't know, Dan. This is years ago. Dan is saying, we're going to bring you out and hire you. I'm like, I don't even know you are Dan. Of course, I didn't say that. I'm like, sure, okay. And then I want to say 6 months later, randomly, I get a call. Dan wants to fly you out first class to come teach his crew. And I'm like, Dan, oh yeah, Dan. But I'm like, why me? You're on the Maxwell leadership team. We got on a call, he and his wife, quality people. This guy literally owns land upon land upon land, and just quality. But more than that, he's a man of integrity, right? Just like Amanda and Dr. Dan Walden, Dan Nicholas. I don't want to talk too much, but God has given him a lot to steward because he has good stewardship. And so I'm just honored above all of that, that he really is a quality leader that understands integrity-based leadership. And then I want to bring up Dr. 𝐓𝐫𝐽𝐺. And she is the college president and superintendent of Barstow Community College. And I met her, Dr. Walden introduced me to Dr. Bag, who ignored me, y'all. Dr. Bag ignored me. Dr. Bag ignored me for like a year. She was like, I don't know who you are. No, I'm joking. Well, I'm not joking. She did ignore me, but not on purpose. She's busy. They're busy. College presidents are busy. And then one day I met her, and I'm going to open it up to you all. I met Dr. Bag at a Barstow chamber meeting. And I'm like, who's this little lady? I could just tell she's like this big, but I could tell she was like a powerhouse. And she was like, hey, it was great. I know you. And I'm like, okay, what's your name? She was like, Dr. Bag. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the lady I've been stalking for months. And so I met her, and then I didn't hear from her for another 6 months. Then we met again. I went and talked to her, and oh boy, talk about it again, integrity-based leadership. When I heard her vision and her compassion for the community of Barstow, for her staff, the faculty, the students, I thought, wow, you don't really meet a lot of people like that. So this is the panel, and I'm just going to have you all in the order that you came on. Take about a minute and tell us what you'd like us to know about yourself, what you do, your business or your work in this world. Take about a minute, and then we'll jump into our questions. Let's start with the Councilwoman of the Grove.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here. I am so excited. I am the pastor of New Leaf Ministries in Adelanto. We run a home church here in the city of Adelanto. I'm also a councilwoman for the city of Adelanto. And, if you know anything about Adelanto, we are still considered a rural city. So we don't have the same budgets as some of our sister cities nearby and others. And the same is true for our home church. Everything we have done is a little unconventional, and shifting is exactly what we do best. And the one thing I loved, Pastor D, what she said about keeping it moving, so fantastic, because we've always said, you just got to keep moving, and it doesn't have to be perfect at first. It is okay to build upon things as you go, as long as you don't quit, you don't stop, and you keep trying. Because the truth is, and all the leaders know this to be true, nobody bats 1,000. You cannot be a leader until you have some losses as well, or some learning experiences, as we'd like to call them. But we need those experiences so that we can build upon them. So I'm just so excited to be here this morning with all of these amazing individuals. Iron sharpens iron. So this is definitely the place to be this morning. So thank you for having me today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm honored to be here with my great friend, Kenisha Williams, Dr. Williams. Appreciate her. She's done so much for our college, for our leadership. I have the privilege of being the superintendent president at Victor Valley College, which is here in the high desert and of Southern California. We are also very honored right now to be able to boast that we are the fastest growing community college in California. And according to ACCT, which is a national organization for trustees, probably the fastest growing community college in the United States. We are over 50% above where we were pre-pandemic, and very excited about that. I believe that a leader sets the tone for where the organization needs to go. So my attitude as a leader is what transfers out to the community. And so my main job is to set the tone. And I have an attitude about getting better at getting better. That's what we're always doing here, is figuring out how can we get better. And someone asked me the other day what kind of leadership style I thought was the best style. Well, first of all, I believe you have to have an attitude of a servant leader. So that's the attitude in which you approach the work. You either come in to be served, or else you're coming in to serve. But the main thing that I would focus on as a leader and try to do is the ability to be flexible in leadership, because it depends on the situation. You can have someone that is an autocratic leader, and they're always at the top in their ivory tower, passing down the edicts to whoever are below them. And then you've got others that just sit back and kind of let the organization take its own shape. But what's important about a leader is that you have the gift of flexibility, in that you can understand the situation you're facing. There are times you have to step up and make a decision and say, this is what we're going to do. I am the leader. It's my job. I'm CEO, and that's what I'm going to do. Other times you can see the team kind of working together in such an energetic way that they kind of have their own momentum, in which you might move back into more of a laissez-faire kind of style. I'm talking about the same person being able to adjust from one leadership style to another, or another one that says more of a collegial thing, that you're just saying, hey, everybody, we're all on the same team. Let's come together. Let's talk about this. And so in that way, that's kind of how I approach leadership. And that's the style that I try to use, is the style of flexibility or situational leadership.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Walden. Beautiful. Let's go to Dan.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Or actually, it's almost afternoon here. So, hey, thanks so much. It's good to meet you. I live in Midland, Texas. I'm actually in the low desert, Dr. Daniel. So I'm not as humid here. I'm a very dry heat. But thanks so much for allowing me to be here. It's nice to meet you, Amanda, and you as well, even. Thank you so much, Kenisha. I appreciate it. It's amazing how fast time goes. It seems like you were just out here the other day. And in case most of you don't know, Kenisha is just like a little firecracker where she goes. What you see today, you see full time. You know, you can call her on the phone and you just get lit up just by talking to her on the phone. So thank you so much. Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I buy and sell businesses. I do startups, and I'm normally in the middle of several all the time. And I'm just, Kenisha mentioned earlier, I'm just simply a steward. Not only am I an entrepreneur, but I'm a speaker and I'm a thinker. I'm also a builder and I'm a creator. That's my purpose here on this earth. And it's unfortunate that it took me 40 years to discover what my purpose finally is about leading that. But what I try to do is I try to provide experiences and events where the Holy Spirit can do his job. Whether if it's meeting one-on-one or within a group or going into prison or into a company, I don't try to control anything besides myself, but I try to just allow an experience, an event to happen, allow the Holy Spirit to do his job. And I really like the concept that we're talking about today, the leadership. Where I've kind of had to shift to is that I like the servant leadership as well. And I can remember back here about 10, 15 years ago when I finally grew into the awareness is that none of it's mine. None of it's mine. My wife's not mine. My grandchildren, I've got 11. I've got 4 children. They aren't mine. They were all God's first. And that the things that I'm allowed to manage, the different companies, working with great and fantastic people, regardless if it's a low end or a high end, my business, my talent, none of it's mine. Because once I've surrendered everything to him, it's his, and I'm simply just a steward over it all. And so that's where I am today in my leadership. I'm just simply a steward over it all. So thanks so much for allowing me to work within my purpose, being part of your event on what you're creating. And Kenisha, I'm so proud of you. I can remember you came out and you were just a little ball of fire about 2 years ago. And when we first met, I just remember just the chemistry that even happened over the phone. And I've seen you change so much, and I'm so proud of you, and congratulations. So thanks so much for everybody allowing me to be here. Thanks.
Oh, gosh. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. And let me say this before Dr. Back comes in about Dan. What I love about each of you is that the weight of influence that you all have is tremendous, right? Your reach is tremendous, but knowing you personally, like each of you, that doesn't move you, right? Like you're not moved by that. Like you really have a heart to serve. Like when I was with Dan, he and his wife, they said, hey, come stay at my home. This before I knew them well. I'm like, stay at your home? I'm not sure. I think I need a hotel. So he was like, whatever you're comfortable with. I said, let's do a FaceTime with your wife. Let's see. FaceTime with his wife, just as sweet as can be. And then I could see why I could see why, for me, the Lord wanted me to stay there, because they really were an example of servant-based, like Dr. Walden, when you talked about leadership. I mean, with all that, we were driving on his property, and I mean, I'm looking out to endless acres that this guy owns, and just in his little pickup truck, we're going through the mud holes, right? Just as humble as he wants to be with this team. The team loves him. And so that does something, right? That's a shift in leaders. That's a leader shift, because we don't always see that when people have power and influence like you all have, the humility that should come along with it. So each of you have taught me about that. So Dan, I wanted to specifically highlight that. Like, I've seen this firsthand in your house with your wife, how she served me. She didn't have to do any of that, but she served me with her heart. So thank you for being a real leader, right? That knows how to shift into humility. Let's go to this powerhouse, Dr. Eva Bagg.
Thank you so much. So first of all, Dr. Kenisha, I want to apologize for my long delay in getting back to you. But as you know, when you invited me to be on this panel after having met you and worked with you and invited you in to work with my team, when you asked, of course, I had to say yes. Who could say no to Dr. Kenisha? But anyway, it's good to be with this great panel. My big brother, Dan Walden, we work pretty close together, and it's always a privilege because we like to collaborate and partner for the good of our communities, and our communities really overlap a lot of the time. Bit about me, I've been superintendent president at Barstow Community College. Barstow is located halfway between Las Vegas and Los Angeles. And prior to working at Barstow College, really my background, I taught cultural anthropology. My degree is as an anthropologist. And, you know, I was thinking when we were all talking about leader shift, it reminded me of something that really is kind of core to my identity as an anthropologist. You know, one of the things that we seek for is the experience of going to another culture, immersing ourselves in the values and the lifestyle, the beliefs, the ideologies of other cultures. And what we describe it, and you may remember if you took cultural anthropology as an undergraduate, we experience it as shock. It's culture shock. And oftentimes that's very disruptive and disturbing and difficult because it can challenge your own frame of reference, the lens through which we've grown up and we've accepted as the status quo because it's the lens through which we look. And it's very difficult to be able to kind of step outside your own self, your own upbringing, and learn to appreciate another lens, and not judge that lens, but learn to just understand it and to try to utilize different ways of navigating our world. I've always seen it as a potential resource for solving the problems that we live in and experience in our own communities. And I think for me, that's what I try to continue to do as I serve Barstow Community College. Barstow is a highly impoverished little town, 25,000 people. The population has been pretty stagnant for a very long time. Poverty rate is about double the state average in California. We struggle with homelessness, hunger, high rates of addiction and mental illness. And it's a privilege to be part of the college where we serve as a beacon of hope and opportunity to change lives. So for me, it's always about really trying to understand our students and our community members where they're at. So I try to bring in that anthropological view and really dig deep and not assume that college is the way it was when I was going to school, and especially for the diverse learners that we have and how those learners are changing and adapting in our world right now that we all know is under pretty disturbing times. But together, we work together. We get support from people like Dr. Kenisha to be able to try and grapple with that and do it with optimism, hope, and deep mutual respect and love for one another. And Dr. K, I just want to say you model that. You bring in energy, but you do it with such positivity and your heart. And I think that's part of leading with our hearts and serving our community. So you've really been helpful for us in doing that. So that's it from me for now. But thank you. It's an honor to be with all of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Bagg. So I love those intros because it also included some other things about our leadership. So let's go to our question. The second question that I have for our media ministry, media technology department, is tell us about a shift you have had to make as a leader that was extremely challenging. So think about whether it's recent or whether it was in your former life, but something that was challenging and difficult and arduous. But as a leader, you took on that role because you knew you had to face it. Or maybe it's something you're going through right now that you'd like to lean in and share. And again, everyone does not have to respond to each question, but I certainly would love to hear from at least one or two of us. Would tell us about a shift that you've had to make as a leader or make as a leader that was extremely challenging. Anybody ready to jump on that one?
I can do that. So I've had two careers. I spent 25 years in Christian ministry, and I won't go into all the detail about what I was doing, except to say I was one of the lead in high leadership in the organization that I was part of. It was an international organization of about 3 million members. I started off in ministry just with the mindset that I had been trained in, very controlling and very, it's embarrassing to look back on and see, but it was just to be honest and transparent, it was very top down. I was the pastor. I was a senior pastor. I had 6 pastors underneath me in the local level. And I was sat on a national board, international board of 12 elders. And so, was the guy in charge. But as the organization grew and as I grew, I finally went to seminary, thank God, to find out if I really knew what I was talking about. And I was able to get a master's in divinity. And I had a very big theological paradigm shift in how I saw that the way that I was leading, I was sort of getting in the way of the Holy Spirit. Instead of letting the Holy Spirit lead and guide people, I was trying to lead and guide them. That was a shift in leadership that I made back then. And when I did, the church just mushroomed and grew, and my influence and my ability to go all over the world and speak in different countries and general conferences and that kind of thing, that was a real time of where I had to shift in leadership. Thank you for the chance to say this, because I never get a chance to share that anymore. But it was transformational for me.
So you mean, Dr. Walden, you had to shift as a leader in order to help shift the organization?
Absolutely.
Oh, God.
That's exactly what happened.
Ooh, any other leaders here on the panel? You've had to make some leader shift, like we were talking about earlier, between your 2 ears first, so you can help shift the organization. Anybody else out there?
I'll go. It's so interesting. My background, 20 plus years in residential housing, right? So I ran in apartments for 20 some years. And then soon after, my husband and I ran a small home church, and that's all that I knew. And so the idea of going into a city council position was so unreal and so big. And talk about imposter syndrome. Talk about, I did not graduate from high school. There is no way. I don't even know what the city council people did. I had to go to a meeting to figure it out and ask myself, I can't do this. Can I do this? And I think one of the biggest breakthroughs for me is a few things. One, we can't do anything by ourselves. Number one, we really can't. And we really do need to network with other people, because it's there where you can get some collaborative thoughts, and you can get prayer, you can get encouragement. And that's, the enemy always likes to keep us separated from people so that we are in these intrusive thoughts by ourselves. And so for me, someone that didn't graduate high school, someone that doesn't have a college degree, that would love to one day, but just haven't got around to it, I'm sitting there with all of these thoughts. And I was so excited when somebody once told me, stop asking yourself, stop telling yourself that you can't, and start asking yourself, how can I? How can I is the game changer. How can I allows us to regroup and look at this from a completely different perspective. It has helped me in the council. It has helped me in our ministry. It has helped me with our youth group. It has helped me just in life to ask the question, how can I? And, again, it goes back to, it doesn't have to be perfect at first. Definitely get in a network with people and collaborate and get some good ideas, get some good feedback, and get some good encouragement. But these shifts in mindset have been huge. And as we continue also, in local government and at the college levels, we're all facing this high tech time right now where everything is, a lot of people are talking about AI and augmented reality and all these things that are new kind of to us. And we just have to go back to, I think one of the best things that leaders do, even today, is that we combine high tech with high touch. And we merge them together and we keep those things together. And that's how we're able to continue to grow, continue to lead, and continue to do great things for our communities. But I'm telling you, if I didn't get that mind shift of how can I would never have done or even tried to do the things that we've done in these last 5 years, both on the council and in our ministry here in Adelanto.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Councilwoman. Anyone else thinking of the shifting of you as a leader?
Yeah, Dr. Kenisha, I think, as a new superintendent president, I think one of the humbling experiences that I had, working with teams and, bringing on new vice presidents, for example, I sometimes I would get frustrated with their performance, and it's like, God, and when I was, at that level, I was, I did this, that, and the other, and things were different. Why don't they know their jobs? These are high position jobs. But then, I had to stop and realize, everybody's experience is different.
Yeah.
And had to meet people where they're at. We do that for our students, but for our teams as well. You have to. And then question yourself, how clear have I been in the messaging of expectations? What capacity constraints do they have? What capabilities might we need to help shore them up? So those kinds of things, it's just really being more empathetic to the teams that we support and recognizing that in our leadership roles, really 80% of our time should be spent on caring for, getting to know those individuals that we rely on. And until we've done that well, we can't really expect that kind of delegation that we have in our minds the way it should work in a leadership team.
Ooh, oh gosh, okay, that hurts because it's so. I went through the same thing, very different capacity, but just like you're saying, loving my personality style is, I'm excited, but I'm a pusher. I'm a pusher, starting with myself. And so I've had to do a lot of mental cleaning about leadership and exactly what you're saying, Dr. Beck, supporting people, loving people, nourishing, encouraging, because I'm like, I don't need all of that. Listen, all right, wipe the snot from your nose and let's keep it and people don't respond to that very well. And so I've had to do some major shifts over the years. And truth be told, I just had an experience with an amazing group of people for a new ministry that I launched about a couple of weeks ago. And new team, some of them brand new. I just first time working with them, but a lot of them I knew. And even in that new environment, the old, 1,000 miles per hour. And it had to end in apologies. I had to go back and say, I'm so sorry. Forgive my heart, right? Forgive my head, not my heart. I love you. I'm sorry. I was trying to get the mission done. And in getting the mission done, I lost sight of the people. So this is a very real thing, this shifting, right, of us as a person so we can help shift the environment or the organizations or the people that we lead. So thank you for that, Dr. Bag. I'm right there and still actively and consciously have to make sure sure that I'm keeping first things first and shifting, not just from the task, right? And Dan, you know about this with DISC and Dr. Bag and Dr. Walden as well. I've done DISC with you and your organizations, not just task first, people first, right? And then balancing that after caring for the people, then the people are more likely to want to execute the task, and not my nature, which is task, 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 and then people after that. So I continuously have to shift to make sure that I care for the people that I'm serving with and who's serving with me as we execute those tasks. So thank you for that, because I certainly resonate. Dan, you tell me about you, about any shifting that you've had to do as a person as you're doing shifting your organizations.
Well, there's been very many shifts. You know, I graduated from a Christian school and then went through my episode of drug addiction until I was about 28, and then the Lord's the Lord of restoration, and so, but I would try so hard to stay out of confusion. You know, we get to going so many different ways. We got people coming at us with all these different attitudes at all different levels of education, all types of different spiritual belief. So a lot of times I would try to just stop all the confusion, but I got to a space where I started welcoming the confusion, because before every great win in a battle, there's always going to be confusion. So when I stopped fighting so hard to try to stay away from the confusing things in life, and I actually started welcoming it, things started changing, because we all know that what we're currently even doing right now today, it's going to show back up in our future. It's the law of reaping and sowing, right? Whatever you sow, you shall reap. And so then that really got me to looking at parts of my life where I was really most confused with distortion of truth, was when I started looking at my inside and I realized that I had a whole bunch of guilt. And some of these, there's 7 things, I'll just mention 4 of them real quickly, but it really led to obstacles in my leadership, because I put on this mask. You said, you know, identity crisis. I put on this mask trying to be a good Christian leader, but in the inside, I was feeling guilt for all the guilt and shame in my past from some of the awful things I was done. And so what I would go around with this attitude, like I owed somebody something because I took something from them or I did something wrong. I ripped them off. I did whatever I did. So I had this attitude that I was always guilt and shame, you know. And then I went around with an attitude of being angry that I owed somebody something. You know, you took something from me, so I owe you something. Where if you disrespected me, said something unkind, you either stole from me or just looked at me the wrong way. So I had this attitude of anger, and that really affects our leadership too. I mean, because you can look around your workplace, at school, or anywhere, and you just see angry people, and you know, it's that bad vibe, you know. And then there was that greed part, you know, when you start really trying to really focus on you and what you got going on, and you want and we want and we want, when our priorities aren't right. And so greed basically says, I owe me. You know, and then I would find myself looking at other leaders living a life of comparison, and I'd get this jealous spirit about me, and it would be, God, you owe me more. And it's like, when I started really diving deep, and it's a little bit difficult to even talk about with you, because, you know, I'm a retired bivocational pastor as well. So when I'm with this group of pastors here, you know, but the key to all of it is being just open about it and addressing it, not try to run away from it, not try to hide it. You know, I'm human too. And so that's when I noticed that my confusion started going away, when I was transparent with everybody, didn't act like I was super pastor. Hey, I'm flesh and blood. And I really got to be understanding of that. God created me to be a human being, not a human doing. So many times I try to fabricate stuff because I felt like I got to do. And there are points and times to do things. But when we really come back to being a human being, then I can be open. And, you know, we all got it in our closet, right? We've all carried guilt. We've all got anger. But when I can go back to like Dr. Daniel said, hey, Dr. Daniel, you didn't see me in a good shiny moment. Forgive me. Or, hey, Kenisha, hey, I forgive you. Hey, you know, I was angry at you, but not, you know, when we start getting this, the world sees that. That makes us better leaders and everything else when we can do that. And so that when I finally, and I'm still learning, I'm still very immature in a lot of ways. Being at age 62, But you know what? I'm a lot further, and I'm not as much as confused as what I used to be. I'm a little crazy though. So are you. I'm not going to tell you who I'm pointing at, but you are too, right?
We know, all of us, if we just tell the truth about it. I appreciate these real answers because I told them, people who know me, listen, I feel like I'm blessed. God really has blessed me to be able to attract people of influence, but more than that, the people who I attract know that I'm really all about authenticity, right? I'm not about pomp and circumstance, show and tell. Like, what's the real deal? Because I feel like with what you're saying, Dan, I've lived a life and had so many failures and failings. And I'm wondering why do I keep failing and falling? And there's this mask. There's this mask that I've had on, and some other people that I may not know, everybody tells their own story. But when the mask is on, we can't live our real authentic lives, and we don't ask the real questions, so we don't get the real answers, and we're walking around performing and doing. And on the outside, we look like we're being good, but is it really good, right? So that's what I love about this panel, everyone that's on today. It is like, how do we really make the shift, right? So that is key in our life. And the first shift with this panel is showing us is it starts with us. Pastor Danielle started us off. What are we thinking about? We get momentum when we have mind management, and then we've got to make a shift inside of us. So let's do one more question. Gosh, I've got a couple others, but here's the one I want us to lean in on. How do you convince others, leaders, that a shift is needed when it looks like everything is okay? Why do we need to change? We made the bottom line. The students are registered. The classes are full. Like, how do you convince? How do you use your leadership influence to tell others, hey, yeah, I know it looks good now, but we have to shift. We have to change. We have to pivot. Like we cannot continue to keep going this way because you have a vision as a leader, but they're seeing another thing. So who'd like to pick up on that? How do we convince others that we need to shift or change or pivot when it looks like to them everything is okay?
Well, I can start off again. I think nothing is ever staying the same. You're either getting better or you're getting worse.
Ooh, good.
I was listening to Amanda, and nice to meet you. We need to meet in person since we're up here in the high desert. Be good to go to Midland. I grew up in Lubbock, Dan, so I know where you live. But anyway, nothing is ever. You're either getting better or you're just thermodynamics, just the second law of thermodynamics. You're just things are winding down. If you don't have something to replenish the energy that's being put out, you're losing. So the question was, when everything looks okay, the key to being a leader, I think, is being able to look beyond where you are and where are we going to be tomorrow if we don't make the kind of shift that we need to make today. Yeah. And so I'm going to be real short on this one because I just think that's the real mindset. If you're a leader, you're a visionary, which means you see down the road things that are coming, and it's not going to stay like it is. So you have to get people in the boat so they don't tend to drill holes. That we really need to make this, and that's the art, is getting them in the boat and making them feel like they're part of this leader shift that you have to make in order to keep the organization moving forward.
Yeah, I like that. So it takes vision, is what you're saying. Vision, not just for now, but vision for the future to help guide people. Good. Looks like somebody else was going to jump in. Go ahead.
I love that. One of the things that we do is we teach this culture of always remaining a student. I mean, every year the iPhones and the Androids, they come out with a new version. There's always a new version. Just when I figured out how to use the first one, now it switches up on me. There's a system update. I don't know how it works. It's the same thing with social media, right? I was still on Facebook while people were living it up in Instagram world. And then now it's TikTok. And I'm like, I just got a TikTok. I don't know how to use it. These kids are blowing up with TikTok. I'm like, this is crazy. I can't I can't keep up. It's the same with, I didn't know what ChatGPT was until 2 weeks ago because I got on a meeting. I was like, I am so behind and I'm really trying, and I'm the one that always says, we got to remain a student, but having that culture, because leaders do exactly that. They lead. And the best way to lead is by having knowledge. And we can't have knowledge if we're not willing to go and take a look or have those conversations. And I'm the first one to go, I don't know what that is. I got to learn what that is. Who can teach me about that? Because we have to be able to say, I don't know. I need to know. Where can I get the information? And we have to allow that culture to drive our organizations, because it's exactly like everyone is saying. If we don't move with this, right, we're going to get left behind. And a leader not allowing the teams, right, to get with the newest systems and to understand, that's what trainings are for. That's why we send people to grow and to develop, to hear about the newest, the latest. I mean, I remember my first time going to a CES convention. I saw flying cars. I saw the GoPro before GoPro was GoPro. And I was just like, this is the stuff that's coming. Oh my goodness. Like, I'm surprised that I'm not still on MySpace. Like, it's so crazy. Things are moving so fast, and how we do things. I remember going to the store. I now use Instacart. I remember, everything has changed. And if we and our organizations and our groups don't stick with continuing the learning process, we're all going to get left behind. So I think having that culture of remaining a student is super important.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Anyone else want to lean in on that one? Go ahead, Dr. Beck.
Yeah, thank you. So I think this is kind of similar to some of the things Amanda was saying, but I feel like I'm still working on this. How do you bring a team along for change that you think is important? And for me, for higher education, the challenge is keeping people positive, but raising a sense of urgency. But for me personally, I really try to step back and look at the trends and the outlook of our American society at large and the attitudes towards higher education. And we need to be real with ourselves, because even though, like Dr. Dan and I, our enrollments are growing in our small communities, overall, there's been a large shift and decline in students wanting to get their advanced degrees. We have to really look into that. Why is that? I know it has to do with affordability, financial aid, debt, and all of that, but also, like, really, are our students getting good jobs? And we have to be able to look at the data and ask ourselves those difficult questions and constantly challenge the value that we're providing for the people we say we serve, and helping them prepare for an unknown future with AI and other forces. So really, in answering your question, I'm still trying to figure that out, Dr. K. But I follow my heart, because it worries me. It worries me that I don't want to be just going with the status quo, because for now and until I retire, things are fine. But we can't think that way. We have to think about future generations of our students, that what we're going to put into place to serve them, not just the now.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Go ahead, Dan. Did you want to address it?
Sure. And like many of you, I'm with leaders just about every day. What I've really noticed that, including myself, especially, I'll start with me, that a lot of times I'm short-sighted. And I look just toward the near-term future, and, from getting from here to there. And we all know that everything we do has eternal impact. I mean, we all know everything matters, good, bad, it all matters. And that eternity is coming and we're already living eternally already. But what I've really noticed is that when we set our sights on short term and we're around a group of leaders and we don't cause them to flex, to have an eternal mindset, we're actually hurting them. And I think when we really get caught into the temporal things and we get caught up in the near-term future, we really, our future leaders that we're trying to coach or mentor or kind of walk beside, I've got to stretch them a little bit more, along with myself, of really identifying what is it you really want to have?
Yeah.
You can ask a lot of leaders, what is your purpose? And they'll give you a long Christian answer, or they'll give you this long answer, but it's not a concise answer, and it's wholly and gappy. And so I think if we could get our young leaders to clarify what their purpose is, because unfortunately it took me till I was in my mid-40s to really discover what my purpose is. I'm a speaker, thinker, builder, and creator, and an entrepreneur. That's it. Mm-hmm. And none of it's mine. And it took me a long time to get there. Now, but what is it that people really want to have? I mean, when I ask people, well, what is your number? I mean, is 2 million enough? Is 15 million enough? A lot of them don't know because they've never put into the thought, but yet they want to be leading people. And leading people, as you well know, that's a very big responsibility. I mean, you leading this group is a huge responsibility, Kenisha, but when we've got leaders around, we really don't focus on what is it that you really want to have. Yeah. If you don't know that, what are you going to know? I mean, when you get it, are you even going to even know it? Yeah. And the opportunities, and then if they can identify what they want to have, then they can start identifying what they need to do to get the team to go from here to there to get that project done. But then really, it really goes back to who you become. So many times it's be, do, have. And then we're willing to go to these different places. We're willing to work all these additional hours. We're willing to go out and fundraise. But really, it goes one level deeper than that is really, who do you become in the process? Do you become greedy? Do you become egotistical? Do you become prideful, arrogant? Do you think you're really running something? Do you really think it's yours? Or can you be gracious and humble and be loving and giving, being willing to serve as the servant leadership model? Yeah. But then why do all that? Why become this? Why do all this? You know, in doing, a lot of times we get caught up in a bunch of do, which leads to a bunch of circumstances, which means you got all this stuff and you're standing in the middle of a circle and you don't even know what to do with it. So we become all this human doing stuff, but even if we get to what we want to have, you know, what are you really supposed to do with it? And the only model of a servant leadership is to give it. Yeah. So there goes the eternity. And so many times we as leaders, to get back to the original question, if we can get our leaders, our people, our professors, our community giving more than they take. Can you imagine our churches if they would give more than they took? Mm-hmm. Can you imagine business if they would give more than they took? Mm-hmm. But if we can get people to realize what is it that you want to have, what do you need to become, what do you need to do, and the whole thing is none of it's yours. All you have to do is just give it away. Mm-hmm. And I think that's my greatest failure, my greatest win, my greatest learning, my best experiences for me and my family, my adult children now. Mm-hmm. I can teach them to give more than they take. And really, when they get to what they want to have, what's the responsibility to do with it? Mm-hmm. Is to give it. Mm-hmm. Our world will be so much better if we could communicate that as leaders. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine us 5 on here? If we can incorporate that and train or walk beside 2-3 more people that are closest to you, how we could change our world. I mean, that's why I'm here today, along with all of you, is to change our world. We're supposed to have a transformation experience. Yeah.
I love that. I think the common thread, right, is vision. Dr. Walden, you start us with that vision. It's bigger than us, right? And Dan, you're ending it. Well, it's bigger than us. And then at the end, we're supposed to give, right? At the end of the day, our lives should be about giving, right? Giving our leadership, giving substance, right? Giving care to people. And so I love that. Panel, you have been absolutely amazing. I'm going to ask each of you in 25 seconds or less to give us just your final thought. And I think we've been rounding in the same way, so we'll go with that. We'll start with you, Dr. Walden. Just 25 seconds or less. Give us your final nugget when you're thinking of leadership or leading that you would like to leave this world with who's watching our broadcast.
I made a comment about getting people in the boat so they don't tend to drill holes. You know, we've heard that if you are leading and nobody's following, you're just taking a walk. Ooh. So I think the idea of your influence is your real authority. If you don't have influence, it doesn't matter what your position is. Oof. Those would be my final words.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dr.
Wonderful
Walden.
to be here with all of you. You're awesome, Dr. Kenisha.
You're awesome, Dr. Walden. Thank you. Thank you. Love you too.
Well, I will just say what a pleasure it's been to be here. And my final thought, I mean, I'm going to age myself right now, but I loved how Aaliyah said it. If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again, because there are opportunities and there are many people that are willing to help you succeed and to get there. There are people who God has placed in your path to encourage you and to mentor you and to trust you and to offer the gifts that have been both instilled in you and instilled in them. Because at the end of the day, we've all been given very special gifts. And just like Mr. Dan Nichols has said, we are here to give it and steward it well. And so as we continue to grow in our leadership, whether you're a beginner, whether you've been a leader for decades on end, at any point, we are here to serve one another, for the body, for the kingdom, for our communities, for our neighbors. And we're not always going to bat 1,000. So we got to keep trying. We got to keep it moving. And it's going to work out. So I want to encourage everybody. And again, thank you so much, Dr. Williams, for having me today. It's been an absolute joy.
Awesome. Awesome. Listen, check her out at New Leaf Ministries. They give a lot to the community, donations. I know they're always accepting donations. This lady is a powerhouse. She's a beast. I love you, Councilwoman.
I guess we'll go in the order which we've kind of been following. So yeah, I just, it's a great experience. And I think, I was really moved by what you said, Dan, about, just how the world would be so much better with the giving. And I just personally want to say, the thread of a lot of you leaders, many of you are pastors, you work for spiritual organizations. I wasn't raised that way. I mean, in my family, my mother was raised Catholic. My dad was non-denominational. I know we grew up reading the Bible and really just respecting one another. And it was more of a private, personal kind of family relationship with God. So this isn't a world. Going to church is not something that I was raised with or even felt comfortable with. But I must say, it's opened up my heart more just knowing the good work that all of you do. So leadership combined with your devotion to God. And I feel like we're very kindred spirits. I just haven't had the cultural practices and the regularity of that kind of interaction. So I feel very blessed to have had this opportunity to hear more of your thoughts and see the wonderful work that you are doing and combining your spirituality and your service to God also to people. So anyway, I wasn't expecting that, but I really appreciate it.
Dr. Bag, you are amazing. I love you. I love the work that you do, down to earth. Thank you so much. I know you're super busy. Thank you for saying yes.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, Dan, bring us out for 25 seconds or less.
Two things. I was at, I've had a landscape company for quite some time, and I actually sold it here, but I'm still kind of involved with it. And I had a friend ask me there the other day, because we're in the middle of summer, he says, Dan, when's the best time to plant a tree? And, many of you may not know, but any month that has an R in it is the best time to plant a tree. And so he asked me that, and I thought I was going to respond like that. And I said, well, what do you need it for? He says, well, I'd like to have some shade here around the house. I said, well, if you're looking for shade for your house, you should have planted the tree 30 years ago. And so then he says, no, really, when's the best time to plant a tree? And I said, today. So what we've discussed here today, when's the best time to get better, Kenisha? Today. The best time. And if you could get better, should you? And the great thing about that is you can answer that any day you want to. Any day that you want to get better, Kenisha. I mean, when you and I have an oops day, when's the best time to get better? Well, right after we made an oops, own it. That's why they call you a leader, Kenisha.
Yep.
Because you're willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do. You're willing to plant trees today, and what you do today will show up in the future. I love you, sis.
I appreciate you, Dan.
No,
hey, My friend, he has an amazing conference coming up in September. I'm doing everything that I can to be there. Les Brown, some amazing speakers. Do me a favor, Dan. I'm going to have you go off screen, but drop in the chat box if you can a flyer for your conference, because I'd love the people to be exposed. Your September conference,
Sure.
it's going to be major out in Texas. Drop a flyer so that they can have access to that and
Sure.
fly.
We've got some great speakers, and I hope you can come. Give Shar a call this week. We'll get it arranged. But yeah, Ed Millette, Les Brown, Paul Martinelli, we'll all be there. So yeah, tickets are reasonable. Yeah, it'll be good. 2 days. 2 days.
And fly out and meet me there, because I promise you, your girl is going to be in the house. Thank you so much, Dan. You've been amazing. I appreciate you. Well, I hope you all have been having an amazing time. We're going to jump right into our next speaker. This guy is off the charts. He's one of my big brothers, one of my mentors. We're going to play his bio, and he'll be the next voice. Cedric LaFleur is a motivational and empowering senior executive with more than 35 years of success across the healthcare, sales, leadership, and sports industry. Cedric has been married to Tammy for 38 years, and they have 2 children, Trekessa, 37 years old, and Patrick, 32 years old. Cedric is the 6 times visionary author of The Blueprint to Manager Success, Millionaire Dollar Beach House, My Journey to an Extraordinary Life, Leading with Emotional Intelligence, Take Off the Mask, You Are Enough, Mindset Matters, and LabWise, a roadmap for medical laboratory professionals. He is the chief executive at LaFleur Leadership Institute, where he has created a successful company that delivers workshops, seminars, keynote speeches, and coaching for organizations focused on leadership development. Cedric is a member of Maxwell Leadership Team. His responsibilities include executive leadership training, coaching, and keynote speaking internationally. Recently, Cedric was in Costa Rica helping lead a government leadership transformation for Costa Rican government. In addition, Cedric is a Dave Ramsey certified master financial coach, where he provides financial literacy training to individuals and organizations across the U.S. Cedric is the chairman of the Executive Leadership Circle, which is a private organization where thought leaders discuss and address global topics. Finally, he serves as founding partner and president of Lake Charles Education Collaboration Incorporated, a 501c3 education-based think tank. Their focus is to help low-performing and failing schools improve academic outcomes. Cedric is also a certified Ramsey Solutions Master financial coach. Cedric attained his Bachelor's of Arts in Organizational Management from Warner Southern College and his AS in Laboratory Science from Eastern Florida State College. He served as a medical technologist for 7.5 years with the U.S. Air Force and is a certified medical technologist, clinical laboratory scientist by American Medical Technologies. Listen to me, folks. Let's welcome up our next speaker to the stage, Cedric LaFleur.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you, Kenisha, for inviting me. I'm excited to be here with you today. I want to tell you guys, look, I'm hoping that I'll leave you with some nuggets. I know I'm going to drop a lot of information, but I'm hoping you'll be able to pick up a few nuggets, right? And the title here is A Small Shift to $1 million. If you didn't come from generational wealth, make sure generational wealth comes from you. Now, again, great morning, great afternoon if you're here in Texas like I am. And I want to tell you that everything I share with you is not something I read in the book. Everything that I share with you is something that I did myself, something that I do every day in my business, Everything that I share with you is my personal story and journey. Now, some of it is going to convict some of you, okay? I want to convict you to take charge of the shift that you're going to make in your life. The mindset shift that you're going to have to take to lead significant changes in your future, in your business future, or with your career endeavor, right? So I'm going to share with you the secrets of how I became a millionaire at the age of 48. How I became a multi-millionaire at 52, and how I retired from my corporate job at the age of 50, and how I paid $1.2 million cash for my dream house. It required some shifts. Now, I'm not telling you this to boast or anything like this, but I'm telling you this so that you understand where I come from and why I'm saying what I'm saying. Because all of these things I did. As Kenisha said, I'm a medical laboratory scientist for 30 years. I'm retired from Abbott Laboratories while I ran a corporate sales organization for 22 years. I'm the author of actually 8 books now, and I have a deal to do 30 books. Just in the month of July, starting next Tuesday, I'm going to help 4 people author their book. And here's what I want you to understand. Everything that you do needs to be with intention. You need to be very intentional. It's going to require some mindset shift. Mindset plays a critical role in entrepreneurship. Mindset plays a critical role if you're an educator. Mindset plays a critical role if you're an executive. Mindset plays a critical role in everything that you do. Everything that you do. Mindset plays a critical role, right? So, but it doesn't require major shifts. It's these small shifts that it's all is what's needed, right? And it's these incremental shifts that can make substantial outcomes, that can give you substantial outcomes, right? I'm going to share with you a story of a farmer here in just a little bit. And I want you to, when I'm telling you the story, what I want you to do is envision yourself in that story, right? So now, if you imagine a farmer gets up every single day and he puts a grain in his back of his tractor, right? He puts the tractor in gear and he drives out a mile into the pasture to feed his cows. They all come running. He bumps the horn and boom, they come running. The feed comes off of the tractor, boom. He turns around and goes back to the barn, right? If he gets up every single day for 10, 15, 20 years and he starts that tractor, puts the feed on it, puts it in gear and goes out to the same field, what will eventually happen? Right? He's going to build a rut in his path to those cows. So eventually he could just get up, turn the tractor on, put the grain on it, put the tractor in gear, and just go. His wheels are going to follow that rut. See, that tractor will take him right to the same spot every time that he's gone for years. Now, apply this story in your life. Now, what I want you to do is to ask yourself this question. Have you let go of the wheel? I'm going to say it again because I want the person in the back to hear. Have you let go of the wheel in your life, in your business, in things? Do you have the ruts? Do you have ruts that keep you doing the same thing every day in and day out? But you keep asking, why am I getting the same results day in and day out and month in and month out and year in and year out? See, it doesn't necessarily mean that your life is in a rut, but it does mean that you unconsciously, you're doing the same thing every day and expecting a different result. It doesn't work, right? So do you have habits that make that you do every day that make every day the same? You get the same outcome. Maybe you're waiting for this shift in the economy. Maybe you're waiting for a person to intervene on your behalf. Maybe you're hoping that fate steps in and you win a lottery ticket. I'm telling you now, it's not coming. No one's coming for you. You have to make the shift. Have you become the thermometer instead of the thermostat? You can think about that. Now I'm not judging you. Trust me, I'm not. It happens to all of us. See, most people tend to let go of the wheel, but it doesn't have to stay that way. You can change, just like in the former story, right? So to change the farmer's direction, he needs to change. He needs to change his destination, right? Now, he doesn't have to make a 180-degree turn. He doesn't have to do all of that. You don't have to make a big New Year's resolution. You don't have to wake up every day and start doing yoga and meditating for hours on end. No, it's small changes. So if that farmer would got up tomorrow morning, turned the wheel a quarter of an inch, by the time he got out a mile in that field, he wouldn't even be able to see the old feeding ground. He'd be so far away from it. Those ruts would be no more because he decided to carve a new path. Just a quarter of an inch at a time. That's the same thing with you. It's just like this. Hot water versus boiling water. See, at 211 degrees, water is hot. But at 1 degree later, at 212 degrees, water boils. With boiling water comes steam. With steam, you can power a train. 1 degree is all it takes. A small change, a quarter of a turn. So now the question again is, have you let go of the wheel? What I want you to do is I want you to today and tomorrow, this weekend, reflect on your life. Have you let the wheel go? Are you unconsciously repeating the same habit, expecting a different result? Are you waiting for that external factor to change your situation? Are you that thermometer or that thermostat? You have the ability to change. Now, in order for me to stay on time here, I'm going to go through these next few slides pretty rapidly. And I want you to understand, I'm trying to convict you because with conviction comes action. With action comes change. With change, you start reaching goals. You start going above and beyond. See, the farmers, this small shift in the farmer's direction was just changing his outcome, giving him something new. Small adjustment, a quarter of an inch. All you need to do is make a small change. Little habits that you do every day, all you have to do is tweak them a little bit. And guess what? You change an outcome. Change your mindset. I wrote it in my book called Mindset Matters. Your mindset means everything. If you don't change your mindset, guess what? Nothing changes. And I heard one of the panelists talking earlier, and he was talking about, being this pretender, putting on this mask. Well, I wrote about that in another book called Take Off the Mask, You Are Enough. What I want you to understand is, folks, and I'm not saying you need to go buy the book, but what I'm telling you this is because I'm saying exactly the same thing he's talking about. You got to take off this mask. You are enough already. God has already ordained you to be great. Nobody else has to believe in you, but all you have to know is you have to believe in you. Now, notice one thing that I said this morning when I first started. I said, great morning. I didn't say good morning. See, that was intentional. No matter when you ask me, how am I doing? Wednesday, Saturday, Friday, midnight, 2 in the afternoon, I'm going to always say, I'm always great. Here's why. See, it's a mindset shift. It's about conditioning your mind to think greatness. Never accept good when great is available. And I'm telling you, great is available to you all the time. So what you need to be thinking about is, how can I be great today? Not just good, not just average. How many of you want to be average? How many of you want to be mediocre? How many of you woke up today and said, I just want to have an average day. I just want to be mediocre this year. I can bet nobody did. But it takes mindset shift, conditioning of your mind. And what I want you to do is just try that small little thing, small little tweak. The next time, try for a day. When someone asks you how you doing, reply this way. 3 words. I'm always great. 3 words. I'm always great. Then what I want you to do is watch for the reaction. Watch for the responses. They're going to smile. Somebody's going to stop and say, whoa, I like that. I'm going to use that. Well, that's just awesome. Watch it. It's a mindset shift. And when you do it, people pick up on it. People pick up on your mindset. You see on my shirt here, I wore this shirt intentionally for today. It says, everybody wants the money, but nobody wants to work. See, everybody wants to live in my $1 million beach house. Everybody wants to come here, but they don't want to put in the work to get it. You see, if I would just give it to them, boom, they would want it. But you got to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to change what you do. And let me tell you something. Sometimes we give ourselves alibis, and I'm going to talk about that. But I want to jump to it right now, because sometimes we give ourselves alibis of we can't do it because I have children. We can't do it because my husband's not going to like it. I can't do it because my wife is not going to agree with it. I can't do it because of my job and my this and my parents, and I got to take care of my mother. And that's just alibi, because all that stuff is going to always be there. You see, when I was 19, you were partying, I was getting married. You see, when I was young in my career, I moved my family from Florida to Texas. My company moved from Florida to Texas. My kids were 5 and 2, or 6 and 3. And guess what? They moved us. But I told my wife she needed to stay in Florida, because she was doing her internship. She wanted to come to Texas and say, well, I'll have to wait a whole nother year. No, I can handle these kids. You see, what I'm telling you this because your kids can't be your alibi anymore. That's just what you're telling yourself. Well, I don't know if my husband can take care of the kids. Yes, he can. He has kids. He can take care of them. They'll survive. 12 months, I took care of those 2 kids, my kids, while my wife stayed in Florida doing our internship. See, when you want a thing so bad, you will do it. But when you just want to be mediocre, you just want to be average, you just want to be comfortable in that comfort zone, you're not going to do it. So no longer can you let your kids be your alibi. Let your mom be your alibi. Let your job be your alibi. When I worked my corporate career, I would travel 4 or 5 days a week with my cell phone. I'm in the airplane, boom, boom, boom. But every night I knew that when I retired, I wanted my business to thrive. So every night after I would travel with my rep, I would get in a hotel and I'm grinding till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd be up till 6, so my rep can pick me up at 7:30 and we can get out and travel. You see, when you want a thing so bad, you're going to do what you need to do. You're not going to have alibis. You're not going to make excuses. You're not going to let mediocre and average and comfort zone set in. When I wanted to become a millionaire, I stopped spending money the way they were used to spend money when we were broke at 29. I wrote a book about $1 million beach house. I tell you everything about it. How we were broke, how we had to change our mindset on how we spend money, how we changed that mindset, and then how our money started growing. Now we tell our money what to do, not my money telling me what we can. Now, again, I'm trying to convict you to take action in your life. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm intentionally telling you these things because I want you to understand it's important. There's 3 shifts entrepreneurs need to make. Number 1 is eliminate excuses and alibis. And here's some alibis. If I had enough pull, if I had enough money, if I had a good education, if I had a good job, if I could get a job, if I had good health, if I only had time, if time were better, if other people understood me, if conditions around me were different, I would do it as blah, blah, blah. Those are alibis. Quit giving yourself those things. Because all you're doing is helping yourself continue to be mediocre and average in every day. None of you, if you're on here, are mediocre or average in every day. So don't give yourself those things. That's what those other people do. Don't you do it. Number 2 of the 3 shifts entrepreneurs need to make. Get laser focused. Prioritize tasks that align with your goals, not with somebody else's goals. Not because somebody else is doing this, you go do this. Not because somebody else over here, you're doing it. You get laser focused and don't worry about anything else. You see, when we were on that path to wealth, we didn't go on vacation. We didn't buy new cars every 2 or 3 years like the Joneses. They couldn't even afford it, but they were doing it. We eliminated those things. Eliminate distractions that hinder your progress. Yes, I know you want to go to that Beyonce concert with your girlfriend. Yes, I know you want to go to Cabo and distant Florida and all of these other places with your friends because they're going on vacation. So we should go on vacation. And here's what we do. We tell ourselves, I deserve it. No, you don't, because you haven't reached your goal yet. Stop doing those average type things and shift so you can do great things with it. You know, Dave Ramsey says it like this. He says, if you do the things today that no one else will do, you can do the things tomorrow that no one else can do. Now, one of my friends was hard at the age of 50. One of my friends just do what they want to do when they want to do. So I decided I'm looking out at the Gulf of Mexico right at my backyard. What you're looking at on the screen, that's my backyard. That's literally my backyard. My peers behind me can't see it, but if I moved over, you could see it, right? That's the life. It may not be living on the water. It could be living in the mountains. It could be passing on generational wealth to your kids. Whatever that goal is for you, you got to get laser focused about it. Eliminate alibis, get laser focused. Number 3 is take off the mask. You are enough. God ordained you. You were born that you are enough to reach your goal, to reach your full potential. It wasn't a question. He didn't have to think about it. He didn't have to go get somebody else's opinion. You are enough. So take off the mask. You don't need to play imposter syndrome. He gave it to you. It's already inside of you. Greatness is in you. Live it. When you do, when you start living that great life, people will come from miles around to watch you burn. They will be jealous. They want to know, Kenisha, what are you doing? I want to do some of that. They will say, Dennis, what are you doing? I want to do some of that. How do you do that? How did you do that? If you didn't come from generational wealth, make sure generational wealth comes from you. Let me keep going before Kenisha starts playing the music on me here. So I want to give you three streams of income that are important for entrepreneurs and businesses. In fact, I'm going to be teaching this week here. I have a program called On the Beach with Cedric, where people pay to come to my house and we do a strategic dive in their business. They spend a day here in the beach house. They spend a night. We have a private chef that comes in and picks meals, whatever their meal plan is. Boom, the chef cooks their meal, and all day we're diving in their business. When they leave, they're going to be a changed person. Now, here are the top 3 things. I'm going to be sharing with them 10 things that you need to be doing, the revenue streams, as for an entrepreneur. I'm going to share with you the 3. Number 1, writing books. You see, years ago, people used to say, Cedric, write a book, and I was like, nah, I'm not interested. I don't have an interest. Well, then one day a mentor came to me and gave me the financial proposition for writing a book. And it clicked. Boom, I need to do that. That was 3 years ago. I had 0 books. I've written 8 already. I have a deal to do 30. By the end of this year, we'll have 10 on them. Right? Writing books changes your business. I saw the shift in the financial profile of my business with writing books. Now, I'm going to say this. Since I started, when I retired and started my business full time, I've never made less than $350 every year. Never less than that. Been more than that, but never less than that. But I saw a shift with books in my business because now I sell them. I don't really worry about selling them to individuals. I sell it in my group coaching when I'm doing corporate coaching program. I built it in. So physical books, audio books, ebook. Now, I'm not the audio and the ebook guy, because I think that that's for amateurs. physical book. And I'm not the softback guy either. Hardback is a real book. People see it differently. When I go to the pharmaceutical companies that hire me, and I go to the Department of Agriculture, and I go to the large systems that hire me, they want that hard book. Spend a little extra money, you're going to see it in your bank account. I'm telling you. Share your knowledge and expertise with a wider audience. 100 years from now, when I'm gone, my information will still be here. My knowledge will be here. And just like generational wealth, you pass on generational knowledge to people. And that's what you're doing. That's the number one income stream in this business, this leadership development coaching training business. Number two is coaching and consulting. Offer personalized guidance to individuals or business. Build a reputation as an expert in your field. Customized programs. I was teaching a class before I got here today to a bunch of entrepreneurs and talking to them about how to customize your coaching solution and your consulting solution to your clients. But that means you have to ask a lot of questions. That means you have to do less talking and more asking questions to understand their needs. Everybody loves options, so you want to give them options. 2 or 3 options. No more than 3. 2 or 3 options. I want to make sure I'm clear. No more than 3 options. When you give people too many options, they freeze. They don't know what to do. So that means they don't buy from you. So then they come to me, and then I give them 3, and then they buy. And then you want it. Well, what's that? Because you gave them too many options. 3 options at the most. Right? And 1, here's what this price is. Option 2, here's what this price is. Option 3, this is the granddaddy. Here's what this price is. Now, here's what you also do. A lot of people are afraid of pricing. Here's what you do when you give them options. You let them decide how much money they want to spend, because they can look at this option costs $1, this option costs $3, this option costs $5. They decide which one they want. You don't have to talk about price. See how you just shifted that? So number 1, revenue stream in this business is writing books. Number 2 is your coaching and consulting business. Number 3 is speaking engagement. Keynote speeches, workshops, corporate engagement, podcasts. Share your story and insights to inspire other people. It's a great way to make a buck and in one day and move on to something. Do it. And here's the thing, people. You don't have to recreate the wheel every time. I have a signature speech called Cross the Line. I've done that hundreds of times. And anytime I speak to an organization the first time, boom, we're going to do the Cross the Line. I'll fit it into their messaging, but cross the line. Get great at that one thing so you can do it over and over and over and over again. Then you can get great at the second one. But I don't have to personalize everything. It's there. Boom, I've made it. Boom, delivered. Too many people spend their time. I gotta recreate this. I have to recreate that. Shift your mindset. Redo the same thing over and over and over and over. I'm telling you, you're going to see a shift in your business. Now, you may say, hey, this guy is crazy. I don't know what he's talking about, but I'm telling you. I'm gonna wrap up on this final slide, but I'm telling you, you'll see a shift in your business. And I call this final thing is the extra factor. See, the only difference between ordinary and extraordinary, I know the word is extraordinary for all the educators out there, but I don't like that word. I like extraordinary. The only difference between ordinary and extraordinary is extra. The only difference between winning and losing is belief. The only difference between hot water and boiling water is 1 degree. The only difference between your success and failure is a leader's mindset. It's your mindset. Make that shift. Be willing. A quarter of a turn. That's all you need. A quarter of a turn. That's all you need. A quarter of a turn is all you need. And you'll change your business. You'll change your life. You'll change everything about you and around you. Now, I want to say thank you very much for allowing me to come and speak here today. Kenisha, I enjoyed it. Hopefully I left some nuggets for you.
Oh my gosh, Cedric, you didn't leave some nuggets. You left a whole lot of nuggets, including the nugget that we see right behind you, which is you. Would you say you're in the Gulf, right?
The Gulf of Mexico, yeah, that's my
I
backyard.
love it. I love it, my friend. Well, you dropped so much. I know people are going to have to go back and re-watch this because I have down eliminate excuses and alibis, get laser focused, and take off the mask because you are worth it. We are enough. Cedric, thank you, my brother, just for everything that you are, who you are, what you're doing. I've watched you from the very beginning of when I joined the Maxwell leadership team, and I continue to honor you and your service and what you do. Thank you so much, Cedric. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you all have been enjoying our show. We're going to go right into our next speaker, Miss Kelly Merbler. If you're looking for a speaker who brings both substance and spark to your stage, Kelly Merbler is your answer. With over 20 years of real-world leadership experience as a senior executive in the staffing industry, Kelly doesn't just talk about leadership, she's lived it. She knows the pressure of leading large teams, the challenge of keeping people engaged, and the balancing act of driving performance while building a culture people want to be a part of. That's why audiences instantly connect with her. She gets what leaders are facing, and she equips them with tools that actually work in today's fast-paced, people-driven environment. Kelly is an award-winning speaker, executive coach, and Gallup certified strengths coach who specializes in employee engagement, culture transformation, and leadership development. She helps organizations break down silos, improve communication, and harness the power of individual and team strengths to boost performance and trust. She's also the host of Coffee with Kelly, a global community that provides a safe, encouraging space for people around the world to find support, connection, and personal growth. This platform exemplifies her commitment to creating environments where people feel seen, heard, and valued. Kelly's signature speaking style blends heartfelt storytelling with actionable strategies. Whether she's keynoting a leadership conference or working with executive behind the scenes, she's known for creating breakthrough moments that inspire lasting impact. Known for her infectious energy, authenticity, and ability to light up a room, Kelly engages audiences from the moment she steps on the stage. And when the session ends, attendees don't just leave inspired, they leave with practical takeaways that can immediately be applied to help them lead stronger, build trust, and transform their teams. When you hire Kelly, you're not just booking a speaker, you are bringing in a catalyst for culture change, a voice your leaders will trust, and a message they won't forget. Let's welcome next to the stage my friend, Kelly Merbler.
Oh, it's so good to be here online with all of you. And I just have to say, Dr. Kenisha, I wonder what it would be like if they put you and I on a stage together. Can you imagine the energy combustion around the world? But good morning, good afternoon, good evening to whomever is watching this live, or if you are on the replay, whatever time of day it is for you. I am so grateful to have just a few minutes here with all of you talking about leadership. And I love this topic, and it's resonating so much with me based on where I'm at right now, not only in my personal life, but in my business. I actually, on my show, Coffee with Kelly, and yes, it's true, I'm addicted to coffee. Like, I even have a mug that says Coffee with Kelly. A lot of people say I have OCD, and it's not the general OCD that you hear of. It's obsessive coffee disorder. So it's a fact. It's you either love me or you don't like me. But I was doing this with my team yesterday at Coffee with Kelly, and we were really talking about shifting this time of year. And I say that because it's now, if you can believe it or not, it is midway through 2025. And I was talking with my team about this, and we do something. We have a tradition that we do with my team. And I've always done this with my own personal self for as long as I can remember. But this time of year, I like to do what I call a locker room talk. And what do I mean by that? I mean, literally, it's like we have a football talk, and my team and I, we go into the, let's just call it the locker room, the virtual locker room, and we have a chat around where are we at this time of year based on what we wanted to accomplish heading into the year earlier in January. And we really do what is so much being talked about today on this live stream. We really take a moment to press pause before we continue the second half of the year. And I want to get you thinking about this concept when it comes to leadership, just the way you would think about driving a car. And I say that because you can't truly get to the next gear unless you slow down. If you're driving a manual car, you've got to shift gears, but you've got to do that by hitting the clutch. And that really is about pressing pause before you move to the next gear. And this time of year, it's such a good practice to do, because where do you want to be by the end of the year? So many of us, we started 2025 with these huge goals or these ideations of what we wanted to accomplish in 2025. And if we don't take this moment to pause and really reflect, I think that's such a good word in this conversation. If we don't take a moment to pause and reflect about what has happened in the previous 6 months of this year before we proceed to the second half of 2025, then we're really doing ourselves and our teams an injustice. And I think about this because I have always been the type of leader very similar to Dr. Kenisha, where I'm always like just grinding and going and moving so fast. And I think about all of you and all the people that I talk to just in the companies that I serve and the people that come to Coffee with Kelly. We are moving so fast. How often do we really take these moments to press pause before we shift to get to that next gear? And so what this is all about is for us to really think about, do we really need to keep it accelerating in this moment? Are we doing more meetings, trying to hit more deadlines? Are we trying to add more goals? I'm that type of person. I want to do so much in my life. Maybe so many of you are in that situation too, where you see so many things you want to accomplish and so many things you want to do, but your to-do list, it keeps getting longer and longer and longer. And as we keep adding more things to our calendar and saying yes to so many things that maybe we shouldn't be saying yes to, this is the moment that I really take my team into that locker room and we really talk about pressing pause and really evaluating what have we accomplished in the first 6 months of the year and where do we need to shift moving in to the second half of the year. So do we really need to keep hustling, or is it more really about a time to stop and really start asking the right questions to figure out what's the right gear we need to shift to get into the next half of the year? So here's some questions. I'm going to give you some questions because I really like to give my audiences things that you can write down and you can sit and really reflect on in your own personal life to be thinking about as well. So I want you to think about these 3 questions. This is exactly what I'm doing with my team right now. The questions that we're thinking about are, number 1, what is working? In the past 6 months of the year, based on where we wanted to be by the end of this year, what has been working? And think about that. What has been working in your own life? What are the consistent rituals that are working? Or what are the things that are working that are helping you get to the right people? What are the right conversations that you're having? What are the right events that you're attending to meet the right people? What are the right schedules that you're following? What are the right values that have gotten you to where you want to be by the end of the year? So what is really working? And ask yourself that question first. The second question is going to be the opposite question. What is not working? And so before we really think about what gear we need to get to at the end of the year, we have to think about what is working, but we also have to ask what's not working. And so what's not working the first half of the year? Have you thought about what are you saying yes to? And is your to-do list just constantly a yes? If we looked at your Outlook and your calendar, whatever scheduling tool you use, do you have a lot of meetings that you've just said yes to that really aren't benefiting where you need to go? Are they just filling space on your calendar, or are they giving you the opportunities and the conversations and the people that you need to be in those meetings with in order for you to be able to shift to another gear? Or are those meetings that you're saying yes to and those opportunities that you're attending or saying yes to all the time, are they actually putting you in reverse a lot because they're taking up so much of your time instead of really keeping you productive and moving forward based on where you said you wanted to go? And the final question my team and I just asked ourselves mid-year at halftime is, what do we need to let go of to finish strong, to get to the goal we wanted to accomplish at the end of the year? And some of those things we're thinking about are there some relationships that maybe we're holding on in our life that are slowing us down and we're really not surrounding ourselves with the right people? Or maybe are we holding on to grudges that we've had in our life that are playing into the mindset that we walk into every day? What are the habits that we're holding on to that are just carrying heavy habits within our life and really just adding to the ability to travel as fast as we want to go? Do we really need to talk about who are the right people we need to be surrounding ourselves with? And so think about that. Those are the three questions. So I'm going to say them one more time. It's what's working, what's not working, and what do we need to let go of in order to finish the year really strong? Some of the things that I'm really shifting in my life, and maybe these will apply to you as well. I'm just like all of us out there. I'm no different than any of you. I'm human too. I make mistakes, but some of the things that have been shifting in my life when I really evaluate where I'm at today versus where I was at 6 months ago, shifting in my values. What's more important to me 6 months now from 6 months ago that I really want to shift to focus on for the next half of the year? Where do I want to shift in how I approach the work that I'm doing the second half of the year? Where do I need to shift my focus? Have I been focusing on too many things? That's something that I think a lot of us are guilty on, and I'm the first one that'll admit that. Am I focusing on too many things instead of focusing on the right things? And I've always learned from Rory Vaden that deleted focus gets deleted results. And so those are some of the things that I'm shifting on. So I want to wrap this message up, and I really want you to say is just, in order to shift, we have to sometimes press pause and hit reverse sometimes when we're driving forward so fast, because what's happened in the past, in those past 6 months of this year, can really frame up what do you need to shift in your own life or how you're leading your team. What do they need? Where do you need to shift to serve them best? What do your customers need that you need to shift in what you're bringing to them and the content and the challenges that they're having? And then finally, for yourself, what do you need to shift around in order to help your team get to where they want to go? You got to show up as your best self. And so is your cup full? Literally, is your cup full? So you can shift to get to the gear you need to get to serve the people and the teams that you are leading. So I'll leave you with this thought. And then Kenisha, I'd love to have you come in. Great leaders don't just go. There's so many leaders that are running so fast and they're just moving and they're going. they really gear up before they shift. And so maybe it's that pause and that reflection that for me, it served me so well before I just keep racing to the second half of the year and trying to do more. I really am trying to do more of what matters most. And leaders, we don't need to do more. We really need to do more of what matters most. So Kenisha, thank you for this time. Thank you so much. I love you so much. And all of you out there, I love you too. And God bless you.
Oh gosh, Kelly, you were amazing. I'll tell you that message really resonates because that's a shift that I have had to make in like a fundamental paradigm of mine where I always believe more is more. You know, people say less is more. I've never believed in that. I would fight you if you tell me do less, we don't need to, because for 7 years, I'm 47 now, but for 46 of those years, like I banked on more is always more. And probably in the last year, specifically as I've been releasing a lot, right, of old paradigms, things that don't serve me, that's been a major shift. That what is it that I need to let go of? Like what paradigms, what habits, what processes. And as leaders, we sometimes have this guilt of I need to do more meetings, more of this, more of that, more, when really that's not always the answer. And it kind of brings me back to what Cedric said. Now I'm kind of doing the things that I don't need to be doing because now, like my friend Dan Nicholas said, because I've got this mask on. So because the mask says this one identity, I feel like I've got to do more. But really, if I'm going to be a leader that shifts, if that is key, it starts with me asking what is working, what is not working, and what do we need to let go of? And I came to a time, Kelly, in my life where I had hit rock bottom, right? And not in the ways that many people would think, right? But in a way that it caught my attention. So then I need to ask myself these questions like, what's working? Because a lot of stuff right now, Kenisha, is not working. On the outside, it looks a certain way, but you and those in your intimate circle know. So what is it that's not working? Then what do you need to let go of? And a lot of iterations of the old me begin to fade away, right, into this new revived version. And truth be told, it's still happening because that shift is going to be key, right, to us leading ourselves first and then leading the people that we serve.
Yeah. And I'll say this last thing is, thinking of shifting, I just really relate to, driving. And so many of us, if you take it into a leadership frame of mind, it's a lot of times we have that, and I've seen it in my life driving sometimes. We see that warning light in our car and we need an oil change or whatever that may be. And I don't know if people do this like I do, but sometimes I just ignore it, or sometimes I go to extremes and I'll be like, okay, I know I need an oil change, and I'll just put a piece of black tape over it because I'll take care of it later. It'll fix itself. I just don't have time right now.
Yes.
But I think that's so real because we do move so fast, and if we don't really pay attention to not only ourselves, that's so important. We got to pay attention to us and what we need to do and how we need to shift so we have a full cup ourselves.
Yes.
But what does our team need as well? And if we're not really paying attention to those warning lights, then what happened? The engine breaks down. Ooh. And we're the transmission when we think about it. And if we're not gonna be able to shift if the engine doesn't work. And so that pause and paying attention is so important in this process. So thank you, Kenisha.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, my friend. And listen, Kelly's wonderful. When we go to the IMCs at the Maxwell Leadership Team, she's always behind the stage, running the whole stage crew. So when I've had to go on, a couple of times, she's there. She's so encouraging. There was one time she texted me. She was like, hey, how's it going? Are you ready to go on? I'm like, I've got a whole other hour. I'm still getting hair and makeup done. She was like, we need you down like right now.
I remember. I
I
do.
run
I
from the
do.
room, literally throwing my clothes on, no
Yep.
shoes on, run inside of the room. And this is with a lot of people, international stage. Put those shoes on, get the mic on. She's like, "You got this, girl. You got this, girl." And she's so encouraging, got me right up on the stage, did my thing for 30 minutes, got right back off, and she was encouraging. So thank you for the work that you do in front of the scenes, but also behind the scenes. Love you.
Thank you.
All right. All right. She is absolutely wonderful. Next, we have our next panel. We're almost done, folks. Now, these ladies are my personal friends. So if you have not been watching on Saturdays, I started a few weeks ago, the Real Talk Show. Why? Because I have a whole lot of talking and a whole lot of things that I want to say to the world. And so, I released this a few weeks ago. Well, what you've been watching is a rebroadcast. The first, I want to say maybe 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks have been a rebroadcast. And some of the ladies that I have on that are coming up right now, they were a part of that original broadcast. They're both my personal friends. So again, plug out every Saturday morning, 9:00 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I want you to join me for the Real Talk Show. It's a podcast. It's a talk show. After we're done with our first 8 episodes, then I'm going to be having some other speakers on one-on-one. We'll continue to go deep as I am adding value, and we're adding value to the world. So first, let's welcome on Miss Marisol Escalante. Welcome to the stage. She was part of the Real Lips talk show. Welcome up, Marisol. Good to have you. And let's welcome up Miss Alicia Mitchell to the stage. Welcome, welcome. So good to have you. So let's do this, ladies. In a minute or less, Marisol will go with you, and then Alicia. Tell us who you are, what you do in this space of time, and then I'll dig in with a couple questions.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So great to be here today. My name is Marisol Escalante, as she already mentioned. I am a passionate difference maker. Our company is actually called Difference Maker Academy. We're a leadership training and development company. Been working for over 18 years, holding the hands, right, boots on ground with at-risk families and school communities as well, helping them to heal, because that's so important. That's been my journey, helping them to grow. And then once we've got that part, then we can rise. And so, being the founder of Difference Maker Academy and Wave Youth Ambassador Cedric was on just a little bit before. He is amazing. He has been a person that has changed my life in my career. A mind shift, right, came through meeting him. And actually, Kenisha, you were the one who introduced us. So I am a Wave Youth Ambassador, John Maxwell certified coach, committed to equipping parents, educators, and students to thrive, because we all know, everybody who's watching this today knows that when we help families to grow strong, then we have unstoppable communities. So that's who I am. I am a difference maker with Difference Maker Academy, growing strong families and strong communities.
Awesome, awesome. And Marisol, I met you through your husband years ago. I was an assistant principal, 18, 19 years ago. And I knew about you for years when you all got married. Then you had your first baby. Your first baby now is how old?
17.
So it's been a while. And my car was breaking down. So we lived in the same area. So he would pick me up. We would ride to work together. And then years after that, I'd known about you. I finally met you I want to say in COVID.
Yes.
And you had a talk show, invited me on your talk show. I was so blown away. And then shortly after that, did my own talk show. And you and Miss Alicia were a part of that, along with some other phenomenal ladies. So thank you so much, Marisol, for that introduction. Let's go here, Miss Alicia.
Hello, everyone. It's so exciting to be here. Oh my goodness, this panel, this entire transformation experience, Dr. Kenisha, has been amazing. And just a little bit of transparency, Dr. Kenisha said, you can just get on when it's your time, but I've been on since the beginning and I've had my notepad out. It's been amazing. I need a replay. I couldn't even get it all. But my name is Alicia Mitchell, and I've been a registered nurse for 31 years this May, which I cannot even believe it myself. I am prior service Army, and I became a nurse because courtesy of the Army ROTC program, I went green to gold, was enlisted, and then became an officer. So I really appreciate the Army for that. Matter of fact, we're celebrating 250 years. The Army is 250 years old this year. We're older than our nation. So that's hard to believe, and that's a whole nother message. But so very excited to be a part, though retiring from the military wasn't my ultimate destiny. It is a part of my history that I'm so very thankful for. And I'm a labor and delivery nurse. I'm in leadership on the unit, the labor and delivery unit that I work on, and I'm in leadership in my church that I've attended for the last 25 years. And so, and lastly, I'm a member of the John Maxwell team, or the Maxwell leadership team, as we now call it. I was in when it was John Maxwell team, so it's hard to break those bad habits, even though everything that's been said on the transformation experience today is about breaking of the bad habits. So MLT, Maxwell leadership team, and that has been an experience that has changed my life from the time that it started. And so, Dr. Kenisha, thanks for having us for this short time.
Yes.
And Marisol, it's so good to see you again.
So good to see you, Alicia.
It seems like just yesterday, Dr. Kenisha and Marisol, when we were doing this show. So nostalgic right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Marisol also is part of the Maxwell leadership team,
Yes,
along
ma'am.
with her husband, along with Cedric, along with Kelly, along with Dan Nicholas, along with our next speaker coming up. So a lot of Maxwell. Why? Because Maxwell leadership is taking over the world. We're integrity-based, values-based leaders. Folks, I'm telling you. And so, ladies, let's just jump in for a few minutes. We had a blast on our show. Essentially, it was called the Real Lips Show. It was intentionally with the ladies. They were all very diverse, all Christian women. And we basically had 3 segments. We had the initial segment, which Marisol was in charge of, and that was just pure fun, right? We would come on with some type of visual prompt. We would talk about that, laugh. Then we would come on with the second segment. We at one point had Pastor Yvonne, and then she wasn't able to do it because of her busy life. So then Miss Alicia, then Miss Anita came on, and we had Spilled the Tea, right, where we were doing, I can't say gossip as a good Christian woman. We didn't do any gossiping, but we sure was spilling the tea. And we talked about Colonel Sanders being sexy. I don't know how that matches up in the same sentence, but it sort of did. We talked about Mariah. We talked about Kanye and Kanye, all kinds of funny things. And then we landed at the very end, which was my favorite segment. It always landed with the message, right? And the message was, listen, we need the Lord. I need him just as well as you, but it was never a pressure to make you feel bad. It was always this authentic conversation. And so again, thank you all. We've got a couple ladies that cannot be on today, but thank you for that. So I just want to catch up with you ladies, because we have, I think we have 5 more episodes that would be playing on the next 5 Saturday mornings, 9:00 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You're going to see these ladies. So tell us, and we'll start with you, Marisol. What have you been doing? Because we shot that. We started December 2020, then rolled it into 2021. So some of the content people are like, COVID, mask, what are you talking about? So what have you been up to since we did our recording back during like full on stay in your house COVID? Tell us what you've been up to.
Growth. That's all I can say. Just, growing. I didn't know a little bit before we it's been a transformation in myself, right? But you get so busy with life, and we have a purpose. I always had that mentality of I have a purpose, and I want to serve the Lord, and I want to help others, and I want my life And my great experiences and my worst experiences, I wanted the hope that it could be used to serve others, right? And to help others and to bring hope to others. But I thought that I was already doing what I needed to do. Like I thought I had reached what God was calling me to do. And even though I was supposed to be doing what I was doing, I didn't understand that he could actually be calling me for more. And then when I answered to that more, right, like to come into the John Maxwell, Maxwell leadership team, right? I thought, okay, well, now what, right? And then he starts connecting me to all of these people. And it's like he's already orchestrated it, because actually, Alicia, we met through this, through you, Dr. Kenisha, right? But we had met before. She was actually the labor and delivery nurse for my firstborn son, where she was part of the team that was there. And so anyway, God orchestrates everything. And so where have I been? I've been growing. I've been answering the Lord's calls to ministry and to my calling and saying yes. I've always been a yes sayer, always. And I've actually felt guilty or like I'm sinning if I say no. But I've actually been learning as I'm growing to say no. Right. To say no to the things that are a distraction. So we built this company, a Difference Maker Academy, Leadership Training and Development. We've been impacting families, impacting companies, impacting school districts, making a difference. And I have also been enjoying watching our growth as a family, right? Cedric was talking about also financial growth. And so making some decisions that we never imagined we would be making. I'm actually, as I speak, I'm going to give Alicia some time now, but as I speak, I'm sitting on the floor. This computer is sitting on pillows because we're moving. My house is half empty. Like we're supposed to finish moving today, but in the past I would have probably said, no, I can't do it. It's not the right time. So what have I been doing during this time is learning to say yes and learning to say no to the right things, to bring transformation not only to myself, but to everyone around me, because I had been limiting myself by saying no to things like it's not the right time, maybe later, maybe when I'm more prepared, maybe when I have this degree, maybe when I learn this, right? Like maybe when I'm all moved in. But no, you say yes and you go now, and you say no to some things that you've just been doing for a long time that it's okay to say no to because you need to grow. So the answer is so simple. It's growing.
Yeah, beautiful. Love that, Marisol. Miss Alicia, what have you been up to?
So what have I been up to? Oh my goodness. Well, that was 2020, 2021 when we started. So since then, I remember I released my first little, wasn't a podcast, but a little oxygen for the soul. With your prompting, Dr. Kenisha. I mean, she said earlier in this broadcast that she's a pusher, and she is. So if you don't want to be pushed, then you don't need to meet her, because she will push you. Matter of fact, if you don't get to moving, she'll push you out of the way. But so she'll push you out of the way and then grab your hand as she's going by you and pull you along with her. So that's a good thing. And so I started it on Facebook, but then I got my actual business license in 2022. And then I wrote my first book. So when Cedric said the first thing you need to do, like to amplify your business, is to write a book. And so I wrote my first, it's a devotional. It's a 31-day devotional. And I released it last year on my birthday last year in 2024. And so what am I supposed to be doing? So the big move was, all right, I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to do volume 2 by my birthday, 2025. I had these big goals and intentions, and that was January, and now this is June, and I've only written 5 entries in the next book. So what I learned from the John Maxwell team was that growth is is not accidental.
Yeah.
It's intentional, right? And so that's the biggest thing I've learned. And what Cedric said was today, he was here to convict us, right? Have you let your foot off the gas?
Yeah.
Isn't that what he said? Have you let go of the steering wheel?
Ooh.
Have you let go of the steering wheel? And so a lot of times, because of my personality, I'm always, everything's great. He said, why do you settle for good if you can have great? But I always have this veneer on of everything is awesome. Everything is wonderful. Everything is amazing. Everything is going great. Nothing's going wrong. I'm always up, never down. I'm always in, never out. I'm always going forward, never going backward. But the transparency is, Marisol said that she always says, yes, I'm like Moses. I'm a reluctant leader. And if you gave me the choice, I would sit back and I'll be the best second person. I'll be your second anytime. Like Tom Cruise said, whom I love everything that he makes. I love Maverick, Top Gun. He says, you can be my wingman anytime. That's what he said to Iceman, right? He said, you can be my wingman anytime. Or he said Tom could be his wingman anytime. But I am good with being the wingman. And sometimes being the wingman is an excuse to let somebody take the wheel and you just ride. You just be the passenger, right?
So Alicia, you and I have to create a balance, because you're like, oh no, I'll wait to see if, and I'll say yes, but then we both get ourselves in trouble for this, right? So we have to create a balance and think, okay, is this yes or is this no getting me closer to my calling? And if it's not, you let it go. No guilt, right? But if it is, Alicia, you don't say I'm second in command. You say, I don't know how in the world, but yes.
Yes. Well, you remember, Marisol, when I first started I joined Maxwell team 2018, did my first mastermind January 7th, 2020, before COVID. And she was one of the ones that only said yes because she was one of my best friends, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, I would rather be watching a Harlequin romance on Netflix, but because you said yes to the Maxwell team, John Maxwell team at the time, she wasn't honest. She was like, I will come reluctantly, right? Yeah. And so then she got the fever and then kept coming and kept coming for 13 months straight with when you jumped in, right? Remember you jumped in, Jorge jumped in, then the shows came in. And so she was coasting just fine. So that's what she's saying. She got her coast back on. So we're going to get the coast back off, right? We're going to get the coast back off because we got stuff to do. So we have stuff to do. Listen, we're running out of time. We're going to go Marisol. Give us your final thought in 30 seconds or less, because I trust you and Alicia. Your final thought to add value to this world from your perspective when you're thinking of leadership is key. 30 seconds or less, your final nugget. We'll go to you, Marisol, then Alicia, and then we're on to our final speaker.
I want to say that I'm driven by the belief that when we choose growth, choose it. Like, not just say I want to grow, not just go to a class, not just sign up for Maxwell leadership or anything like that. But when you choose to have that transformation, that I even want to say that surrender to transforming, right? So I'm driven by the belief that when you choose that growth and transformation, we don't just change our lives, we change generations. Ooh. So I come from so many issues, like, first of all, not from this country, right? Coming from a different country. And at the beginning, I know this is a sensitive issue, but being undocumented and facing those issues to doing the right thing and becoming documented here. But my childhood was broken. I had a drug addict dad, a drug dealer dad, a drug addict and alcoholic mom. There was prostitution. There was gang violence. My parents coming in and out of the prison system, my mom going into a mental institution. I was a parentified child. And so I was used to having to take control since a very young age. And that will come up sometimes because things happen and I feel like I got to fix it. I got to take control. But I have learned that when I surrender to God and I let him lead and him take that wheel, Alicia, right? Him. Sometimes we do got to let it go, but to let him take the wheel, right? I'm choosing growth and I'm choosing transformation and things that I have no idea how to go there, how to get there, right? Just like I had no idea how I was going to survive my childhood, but he's the one that drove me to the right path. And so I just want to leave you today that surrender your control. Be in control, make your next move, be aggressive, be proactive, but it's okay to not have all the answers and it's okay to have people and things you can lean on. I lean on Christ and I lean on the people that he has set beside me because I am not here for titles. I am not here for my glory. I am here to answer to a calling that is going to transform generations because my kids don't have to dig through trash cans now like I did for food. They don't have to worry if their parents are going to kill each other or be in prison tonight because there was a transformation that was made that is not just happening for my husband and myself, but it has moved on to them. And they are going to take that transformation to other generations. So what I leave with you today is not about you. Stop it. It's not about you. Your calling is not about you and your fame and your titles. It is about making a difference for generations to come. So go. Say yes, say no, but do it surrendered so that you know.
Love that. Love that. Thank you so much, Marisol. Alicia, give us in a minute or less, please, your final wisdom nugget.
Yes, please. And I will too. 3 things. The title of this transformation experience is Leadership is Key. Keys unlock doors, and going through those particular doors is going to allow us to enter into the next place. It might not be the ultimate place or the final place, but to the next place that we need to go to get where we're going. Second thing, change, which is growth, right? In this instance, change or growth keeps us relevant. In other words, growth keeps us from becoming irrelevant. And the third thing is, listen very carefully, audience, to what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. Years ago, someone gave me a message by Cheryl Brady called Shift Happens. So this is what I'll leave you with. Shift happens, so don't give up. Make the shift happen. Thank you, Dr. Kenisha.
I love it. Thank you, Miss Alicia. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, ladies. And once again, every Saturday, 9:00 a.m., The Real Talk Show. I will have these ladies on for 5 more weeks, 5 more Saturdays, and we are going to be adding value to you. Well, next up, we have another one of my friends, John Griffin. We're going to hear his bio, and then he'll be the next voice that you hear. John Griffin is an entrepreneur, speaker, coach, and serves as Vice President of Global Programs for the Maxwell Leadership Team. John stewards the values-based transformation programs for students, adults, communities, and country transformation. John also serves as teaching faculty for Maxwell Leadership Team for over 54,000 independent coaches and speakers. John has served in leadership with 2 Fortune 100 companies, founded 3 companies, and has an MBA in leadership and organization management, as well as a BS in industrial engineering. While John has a lot of different titles and roles, his favorite role is husband to his bride, Antoinette. They reside in Georgia, USA. Let's welcome up my friend, my mentor, John Griffin. John.
Oh, wow. That was cool. Went back and forth. Hey, I am excited to be here. And thank you, Dr. Kenisha. I know we'll talk at the very end of this, but I am going to wrap this up very quickly. You see, I just got back from literally traveling around the world. I left here, went to Nigeria, then Uganda, Rwanda, Kenya. Then I flew from there over to Qatar, and then from Qatar to Indonesia, Indonesia to the Philippines. And then finally, after being gone for a month, I'm back here with my bride, and I am so excited to be home. But here's what happened on this trip. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about, because I've been here listening to all of our speakers, and this has been amazing. I know that you are all walking away with incredible gold, and I hope I can do it some kind of semblance of wrapping this up. But I got to do it in story form. You know, I had thought originally I was going to outline just some really cool thoughts, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to share real and raw what's going on right here and right now. You see, I could be an emotional basket case right now because of all of my titles. I love being husband to my wife, Antoinette. And, you know, we talk about our dog, Mila, but while I was gone this time, she passed away. And that's been a really difficult time. If you knew how much I love dogs, but I'm going to leave it at that. Otherwise, I'm going to get all emotional here. But when I left over a month ago, and I got over to Africa, and I go there once a year to check in on our projects and meet with the team and encourage them and meet with the leaders. And the theme for the past month has been shifting. It has been, where do we need to shift? And it got me thinking as we were preparing for today and listening to the other speakers, man, they were right on the money. And if I would have tried to teach what I prepared, I would just be repeating everything they said. And so let me tell you, there are shifts in our life that we've got to take. But in order to take a shift, you got to know where you're at today. It doesn't matter where you're going if you don't know where you're at, because then if you don't know where you're at, you'll never know what direction to go. And not only that, it's more important also to know where you're going. And you've got to have a starting point and a finishing point. And really that finishing point is really just a milepost on a journey of telling you, okay, here's the first leg of this journey. But you got to know where you're going. And that leads into a little bit of what you heard on the first panel today. I remember hearing Dan Nicholas talk about, you know, doing and being, and he's talking one of my love languages right there, because it ties into a lot of the shifts in my life that I've taken up to this point, from doing to being. You see, when I was growing up, I had a pretty tough childhood. And it was funny because as I was preparing to go to Africa, you know, the team over there said, John, would you please share your story? Because when you show up over here, you know, you're this white dude from the US, and everybody thinks, you know, that all Americans, you know, have the perfect life, never challenges. So would you please share your story? You know, and so I share with them the story of the abuse in my childhood, how my mom beat me almost every single day up until I was about 13 years old, till I had had enough. She told me how worthless I was, that she didn't love me, wish she never had me. And I never knew during that time that she had a chemical imbalance. And that didn't really explain much to me. But as a kid, I was a bully, and I was playing victim. And so the first shift in my life occurred when somebody took the time to say, John, what's your story? And you see, you could be the instigator of the first shift in many people's lives, whether you're helping individuals on the streets or in the marketplace or in your family, to slow down long enough and ask them, tell me, what's your story? You see, this gentleman, Ken, saw that I was kind of miserable and bitter in the world. And he'd never asked me that until I was 20 years old. But you see, that began a whole new journey in my life, because he was also the one that introduced me to my creator, the creator who doesn't make junk, Where my mom said I was worthless, my creator said, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. When you begin to understand who you are and whose you are and your value and your values, you begin to change and change direction. I began to set goals of understanding where I am today and having to confront some things about my current reality and to where I wanted to go. You see, I had to move from victim to victor. And to refuse to live in the past, but to begin to focus on the future. I had to make a choice to quit reacting, but responding. And the only way I could do that is to make decisions ahead of time based on my values and my value, that nobody's going to yank my chain. Nobody's going to create circumstances for me. I'm going to create that path in alignment with my creator. You see, what I know about leaders as I travel the world is that leaders typically lead at their highest level from their insecurities. And one of the shifts that we've got to do is quit leading from insecurity and start leading from value and values. You see, some of that comes back to really understanding and asking yourself powerful questions. You see, after I went through that situation with Ken and met my creator, fast forward, another major shift in my life was when my father got cancer and I was walking a journey with him. And I realized that he had died years before in his spirit. He just didn't have a fighting desire in his life in that journey. And so I knew that he was facing physical death, but yet he had died years before in his spirit. And that created a shift in me that I began asking myself the things that, what makes me come alive? And what that turned into was a shift in really, literally my career. I was an entrepreneur. My wife and I had a great business that fed our bank account, but it wasn't feeding my soul. And so that led me to begin to ask clients, what feeds your soul and what feeds your bank account? And how do we get them merged as close as possible? Sometimes that requires a career change. Other times it just means delegating some things that don't feed your soul to those who it would really feed their soul. You see, I'm not a fan of just making money. There's people out there that'll do anything for a buck, and I won't. But I will do anything that feeds my soul. You see, I got grocery bags under my eyes because today I work harder than I ever have in my life. And it's not for $1, it's for impact. And here's the second secret in that. Because it feeds my soul, I may work hard and harder than ever, but it doesn't feel like work. I feel like I'm on vacation because I'm doing what makes me come most alive. And that's what I hope you will get out of this journey, this transformation experience today in some of the notes. But you see, the power of knowing your value and your values lies in this. It's the difference between information and transformation. Today's a transformation experience. It's not an information experience. You see, we're going to inform you, but you've got to do the work to transform. You see, my favorite book, and it's the Bible. Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, don't be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind so you can prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And think about that. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind so you can prove. Well, how do I prove? I prove because I test the things out that I'm thinking here. And it begins to make a journey from head to heart. You see, the difference between knowing about and knowing is 18 inches. Many people say the difference between heaven and hell is 18 inches, knowing about God, but knowing him. The difference between information and transformation is knowing about stuff, but knowing it and living it out with values, not knowing about values, but knowing your value and your values. You'll show up differently. You'll live differently. You'll walk differently. You'll speak differently. You'll see people that are typically unseen because you value them. And if I could challenge you in one thing that may even make you step outside of your comfort zone is go say hello to somebody that's typically invisible to everybody else. Let them know that you see them. But the difference between informing and transforming lies in testing things out. You got to be willing to test it out and improve it, because this leadership journey that we're on is about progress, not perfection. And so if I could wrap up the day with a few thoughts on that, let me take you into kind of this awareness. Spells out ACTS. First thing you need to do is become aware. What are the areas that I need to change? And begin to ask yourself some powerful questions, because the quality of the answers you get in life are directly related to the quality of the questions you ask. And so what kind of questions are you really asking yourself? Are you just asking yourself, how can I make more money? Or are you asking yourself, what makes me come alive? And how do I make money at that? You see, it will change the quality of the life that you live. But the first A in ACTS is awareness. Become aware of where you're at today so that you know how to begin to plot a course forward. But then choose out of that awareness one thing, not 50 things, because I've got a whole laundry list of things that I need to change. But get laser focused on one for right now and choose it. That's the C. Get aware, then choose the thing you're going to shift. And then take the T, take a step. Take a step forward and choose progress, not perfection. There's not been any of us perfect. I am perfectly imperfect, just like you. I'm no better than you. You're no better than me. We're all in this lifeboat together, rowing on a lifelong journey forward. And so take a step. It's small steps. John Maxwell says that small steps will lead to big momentum. Small wins lead to big momentum. It'll create incredible momentum. But the S in ACTS is now seek. Seek support. Seek out a mentor. Seek out a peer group. Seek out somebody to run along with you. But I want to encourage you right now, don't wait for somebody to come ask you to take a step. You take it. Get aware. Choose something to change. Take that step and seek some support around you. And your life will change. Don't let today go by without taking a small step. Leadership is not optional. The world is changing. And if we don't change along with it, we're going to get left behind and become irrelevant. Relevance lies in evolving and sometimes revolving or revolutionizing our life. And so you don't have to be perfect. You just got to keep moving. What got you here is not going to get you there. So take a step today. And I am so honored to be a little part of this journey. And so, Kenisha, thank you for allowing me to close this out with you. And it's been an honor.
Oh my gosh, John, you're the best. Listen, folks, you don't know how significant this guy is. Did you hear how many places he went from this place to this place? He literally is not just going into companies. He's going into countries. And he's one of the right-hand people that you all hear me talk about my friend and mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell, all of the time, right? He's literally one of Dr. John C. Maxwell's right hands. I mean, when we go to the conferences at least twice a year in Florida, then Texas, we're coming up. He literally is, in the church world, we call it armor bearing, but he's the handler, right? He's holding John Maxwell or Mark Cole, the owner, but you're never going to get him to say that. Why? Because of the humility in his heart. But I have seen him serve like at the highest level, at the highest capacity, but the humility that goes along with that, which is why he can be trusted. Another thing that I love about you and your wife, John, you've seen me over the years, right? You've seen the many iterations of Kenisha and have seen me come off, and I still am who I am, but very different in a certain way. But I've made plenty of mistakes. In fact, your wife called me. I was coming off of a plane. Said, Kenisha, hello, you made a mistake. But she was there to coach me, to love me, right? Not to bash me, but to love me through that. And that's part of leader shifting. As you ended with like, seek out a mentor, right? You said seek support. That's what you all are to a lot of people, but you have certainly been that to me. You saw me, John, at one of my not best moments because I'm an ID man. I'm going to push and I'm going to make it happen. And I had a moment when I was trying to make something happen. Good heart, but crazy head, right? And you kind of looked at me and you walked over, and we're going to not say what it was. And you addressed me like, get out of here. He did not say that. He did not say that, but he lovingly gave me, some kind of that eye that a big brother will do when you sort of overstep. So I appreciate the support that I've received firsthand from you all, but I know the support in prayers, but the support in your leadership, like watching you day after day, year after year, watching you and Antoinette go out and literally serve so many thousands upon thousands of people just because you want to add value. That means a lot to me, my friend. I appreciate you, John. Thank you for what you do for me, for the world, for the Maxwell team, for going to the countries. Thank you for adding value to us here today. I got it. My friend, acts, awareness, choose one thing to shift, take a step, and then seek support. I have it down in my notes. I love you bunches, and I appreciate you.
Love you too, Kenisha. Thank you so much.
John. Thanks. I appreciate
Blessings.
you. Blessings. All right, folks, I hope today has given some value to you. Listen, we're going to put up our next flyer for our next virtual conference. Let's get that on up there. Our next virtual conference, it's free. It's going to be in September. We can take that banner off so they can see that the flyer fully. So it's going to be on Saturday, September 13th. Mark it down from 9 a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have another lineup of heavy hitters. We have Chris Robinson, the Executive Vice President of the Maxwell team. He's going to be talking to us about his brand new book, From Drift to Drive. You do not want to miss it. We have my very own, I can't tell you all the things this man is to me, but Bishop Jesse Giddens, Dr. Jesse Giddens, the pastor and founder of Destiny Christian Center, the bishop and overseer of Destiny International Ministerial Alliance. He's going to drop a word for us. And then we have another one of our Maxwell leadership people. This lady, listen, she owns mountains. And I don't mean that figuratively, like the Bible said, look at the mountain and cast. I mean, literally, the girl owns mountains. How? She'll tell you if you come back on September 13th. She has her new book that's releasing on how to live rich. She is a mogul, folks, has over 7 multi-millionaire dollar businesses. But what I love about her, again, is she's down to earth and she's about integrity-based leadership. And then you'll see my other wonderful panel, Mercy from Africa. We've got Councilwoman Deborah Jones. We've got Dr. Derek King. He's the local superintendent of Excelsior. And we have, listen to this, the Hesperia Unified School District, their very first in the history female superintendent. She will be taking over July 1st in a few days. So we have Dr. Michelle. Listen, she is going to drop it on us on our panel. Again, you want to put this on your calendar because we're going to have an amazing time. Also coming up in person, if we would put up our flyer for November 7th, be sure to register our 6th annual Transform Growth Conference. We have amazing speakers and leaders that will be here in the high desert. It's only $129, folks. Listen, you're not finding that anywhere. We're going to feed you breakfast. We're going to feed you lunch. Texas Roadhouse, by the way, lunch. You cannot beat that. For $129 general admission for a full day, 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. We're going to be in the room doing what? Learning and growing together. All of our local mayors are going to be there from all of our surrounding cities. We have our county superintendent of schools, Ted Alejandre, my friend, who's going to be joining me. Listen, we're going to be giving, listen to this, free books to every single elementary school library in the high desert. That's right. My company, Transform Nation, will be giving free books. So if you want to donate to that that cause to increase literacy, we will certainly take your donation, as we want to spread good literacy and great books, great content in our elementary school libraries. And you can go to the website to get more information about that. Thank you to all of our sponsors, Victorville Motors. We have Desert Valley Hospital, Desert Valley Medical Group, Enchanted Events. They are our presenting sponsors, major sponsors. And the rest of them, McDonald's, you see them there, Destiny Christian Center, Global Credit Union, Starbucks, Options for Youth, Chick-fil-A, Excelsior, Birdtech, Texas Roadhouse. Thank you, Oxygen for the Soul, Abraham's Inc. We appreciate every single DoubleTree sponsor that is donating to help us get this on. I think we've got a 38-second commercial. Let's play that commercial about our upcoming conference for 38 seconds. Let's go. All right, folks, thank you so much. And again, I hope to see you September 13th virtually, right here on the virtual platform. Join in just like you did today, as well as in person. You can register. Registration is open, www.drkenishawilliams.com. I hope that today has added value to you. I know it's been long, but you can go back and watch that rebroadcast. Why? Because we need leaders who are not afraid of making a shift. First of all, starting with ourselves, because leadership is key. And when we can shift our own selves, starting with what's between our own two ears, then we can go out, shift our organizations, and shift this world. This is your friend, Dr. Kenisha. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day. And remember, leadership is key.
I wonder if it was doing it.
It's been more time.
I didn't know you were doing it. I thought you stopped.
Because you're going to stay out here while I go in and introduce Marcus, right?
America, it's time to grow, baby.
You're going to stay out here, right? While I go?
Yeah.
I had it. I was going.
Okay.
America, do you want to know what just happened? I don't feel like I want to be in the land of growth. Because Rhonda Dennis, I just talked for 10 whole minutes, my best message ever. And we couldn't get her to just do one thing. Had she been in my last class, oh, well, she was in my last class yesterday. And I just taught about leadership. We couldn't get her to grow and know how to press record. So now we have to start another third video over because
Friday, January 12th, 2024, and we are leaning into growth. But not only are we leaning, we're leaning way in because we want to be ignited, inspired, illuminated.